The Scottish Cup Final. Live on Sports Sound. On BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to Sports Sound with me, Kenny McIntyre. We're live from Hampden Park ahead of the showpiece event of Scottish football, the Scottish Cup Final. Martin O'Neill's Celtic are strong favourites to go on and secure the double. Standing in their way, Neil Lennon's Dunfermline Athletic. Can they pull off what would be a massive shock? Stay tuned to find out. As ever, BBC Radio Scotland has you covered.
The Scottish Cup Final. Live on Sports Sound. On BBC Radio Scotland.
And a really brilliant side a few way back 20 odd years ago. Really brilliant side.
Stay in Petra for 3-1. That's the goal which ensures the Scottish Cup is going to be in Celtic hands.
Lennon and his team awaits.
It's a hell of an achievement for the club. I mean, we've beaten Hibs, Aberdeen, Falkirk. We've deserved to be here.
This is a chance to send Dunfermline into the 2026 Scottish Cup Final to eliminate a third Premiership side this season. It is incredible! Dunfermline Athletic, Scottish Cup finalists! Here we go. Celtic are into the 2026 Scottish Cup Final. Celtic chase a double. Celtic 6, St Mirren 2. Martin O'Neill against Neil Lennon for the 2026 Scottish Cup.
What a job he's doing at Dunfermline. They get to the final, but there'll be no old pals out.
There's a final whistle. Party Thistle 2, Dunfermline 1, 3-2 on aggregate.
You know, from our point of view, I wanted promotion rather than the cup. I would swap that any day of the week, but maybe some people in Dunfermline would prefer it the other way around.
It's gone in! Absolute bedlam at East End Park! A momentous evening for Dunfermline Athletic Football Club! Here we go.
It's only special if you win, and I've been here in the losing final as well too. So you have to win.
Players have covered themselves in glory all the way through this.
3-0! Dunfermline sends the holders spiralling out of the Scottish Cup!
And now we got one to go.
It's a matter of trying to win again.
Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. The Scottish Cup lives here.
Welcome to the show. Really excited for this one. Oh, it's a very special day and the weather is playing its part. It's quite bright here on the south side of Glasgow and the park is looking absolutely magnificent. So the stage is set. Alongside me here on the gantry, Pat Bonner, Ian McCall, John Rankin, our chief sports writer Tom English and our match commentator Alistair Lamont. Pat, days like this bring back so many special memories.
Yeah, very much so, and it's a special place, Hampden, I think, on a cup final day. Yes, there's been great occasions for us, but there's also been disappointments. But when the great occasion comes along, walking up those stairs and picking up a medal, lifting the cup to your fans, it's kind of one of those things as a young man that you would probably dream about. Listen, I wasn't born here in Scotland, but I always watched Wembley, I watched Scotland, and I could see those players, brilliant players, doing it. And as a young boy, you kind of, it sits in your memory. And to be able to do it yourself on occasions, it's memorable, and it's something that sticks with you, especially the first ones, those early ones. And sometimes you get a little bit blasé about maybe winning things, and it's only when you retire that you miss it. Absolutely miss it. So yeah, it's going to be a wonderful day, and a wonderful day for Dunfermline, also the underdog on a day like this. Doesn't come around too often.
Yeah, the fans all over to the left-hand side, a tifo ready to be displayed there. The players have just been out in the park. Ian McCall, what memories does it bring back for you when you turn up at Hampden Park?
Well, listen, many games for Queen's Park, but certainly a cup final. I think it may have been the League Cup final though, when I missed an absolute sitter against Aberdeen. Paul Mason scored twice for Aberdeen, but I watched it for the first time on YouTube, honestly, about a week ago. And the best thing about it was, my miss was horrendous, and that would have put us 2-1 up. but Willie Miller brought down Ali McCoist in the box, and Willie went absolutely mental. I mean, running after the referee as if to say, trying to re-referee the game and all that, but the penalty was given, but Aberdeen went on to win 2-1. I had a few great memories here. You know, I got the bus across Kenny, and it was the same bus I used to get 42, 43 years ago when I used to play at Queen's Park when I started out my career. So great memories, and it's a great day for Scottish football after what has been a bit of a turbulent week.
Yeah, really looking forward to it today here. I say the sun is now coming out at Hampden Park. Good afternoon to you, John Rankin. Your memories of playing here at the National Stadium. Before that, congratulations. News just breaking. You are the new manager of Airdrie.
Thanks very much, Kenny. Yeah, it's one this morning where the opportunity to manage my hometown team, it was too good an opportunity to turn down. Have 5 players and no staff, it's a blank canvas, so there's a lot of work to be done. So again, I'm not sure there'll be many players out in the pitch this afternoon that'll be able to try and poach, but we'll have a look anyway. But memories of here, I've had a lot of good memories at Hampden, but my biggest Scottish Cup final was not played here. That's the one regret I have. We played the Scottish Cup final, I was played at Parkhead because of the Commonwealth in 2014. I'd have loved the opportunity to play in the Scottish Cup final here, but ultimately it was League Cup finals and a different setting when it wasn't the sunshine, it was the middle of winter, so a completely different, but a great feeling to be here today, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, these players, the Dunfermline players, I say, just out in the park a short time ago. Tom Inglis, I'd like to come to you for some context. This would be one of the greatest shocks ever, wouldn't it, if Dunfermline can do the business today?
Yeah, it would be, and you know, we're saying that even though Dunfermline have put out 3 Premiership teams on the road to Hampden, haven't conceded a goal against any of them. So it's been an absolutely exemplary path to the final for them. But they're up against Celtic. Celtic have just won the league. Celtic have got all the resources. They've got all the big match experience. But their path to the final has been utterly bizarre from a Celtic perspective. Like every round has been a struggle. Even Auchinleck, they're 1-0 up. But it's the 87th minute when they get their second.
Yeah.
You know, Dundee, 92nd minute equaliser, takes it to extra time. Rangers, they win on penalties. St Mirren, extra time. Very un-Celtic-like path to the final, but they're here. You know, they got the job done. They're roaring hot favourites, obviously. But yeah, if Dunfermline were to win this, it would be an unbelievable end to an unbelievable season.
Yeah, kick-off is fast approaching here now, just under 50 minutes time to get underway at the National Stadium. Our match commentator this afternoon is Alistair Lamont. Good afternoon to you, Al. You can bring us the all-important team news.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kenny. Good afternoon, everyone. Celtic, first of all, make just the one change from the team that started that massive game last weekend when they overcame Hearts and took the league title. The change is James Forrest coming in, Scottish Cup specialist, and he replaces Sebastian Tenecti. He'll be looking to make it 8 Scottish Cup winners' medals this afternoon. James Forrest adding to his haul with the club. He's already the club's most decorated ever player with 27 trophies, having overtaken Bobby Lennox last season. So the Celtic starting 11 is Viliame Sinisalo in goal. The back 4 of Alistair Johnston, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales and Kieran Tierney. In the midfield, the captain Callum McGregor with Benjamin Nygren and Arne Engels either side of him. Up front, Dyson Maeda will go through the middle again with James Forrest and Yang, who's just signed a new deal to 2030. He is on one flank and Forrest on the other. On the bench for Celtic is Doohan as sub-keeper, McCowan, Ian Acho, who may well have a part to play, you would imagine, Osmond, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Chinecti, Sarachi, Murray and Ralston. As for Dunfermline, who obviously had the playoff disappointment against Partick Thistle, ultimately losing out in the semi-finals, they've made 4 changes from the team that started the second leg of that, the defeat at Firhill just over a week ago. The good news for them, of course, is the return of Aston Oxborough in goal. Remember, he'd been recalled briefly by Motherwell and sat on the bench for their final league game. But Oxborough returns to start in goal. The other players coming in, John Todd comes in. Also Nuruddin Abdullahi comes into the starting 11. And the man who scored the winning penalty here against Falkirk, Tashin Oakley-Booth, makes a relatively rare start of late. So they come in, dropping out. Terrell is the keeper. He will move on to the bench. Kearney, Ahmad, and Chris Kane, notably, who's scored a few important goals this season. He's got 4 in the Scottish Cup already, but he starts on the bench today for Neil Lennon's side. So they'll line up with Aston Oxborough in goal. The back three will be Jeremiah Chilikoa-Mullen, the captain, Kieran Ngwenya and John Todd, with Matty Todd and Robbie Fraser normally playing as wing-backs. You suspect they might be more like full-backs today at times, but they will be on either side. In the midfield, Charlie Gilmore, Nuruddin Abdullahi, who's played much of the season at centre-back, but can certainly play in centre midfield. And Tashin Oakley-Booth, who Neil Lennon's used recently quite often, bringing him on up front, so he might have a role that operates somewhere between the midfield and the attack, supporting Callum Morrison and Andrew Todd up front. On the bench for them, Terrell, Benedictus, Hamilton, Rudden, Kearney, Ahmad, Kane, Cooper and Fife. The referee this afternoon is Stephen McLean, taking charge of his second Scottish Cup final, a decade after the other one when Hibs beat Rangers here in that dramatic final. And on VAR duty this afternoon, it's Matthew McDermott.
Thank you to Al Lamont. Let's get straight down pitch side and hear live now from the Dunfermline manager Neil Lennon. He's with Kerridine.
Neil, we've just had your team there read out. Just how special a moment is this for you? You've been here many times as a Celtic player, a Celtic captain, a Celtic manager, but to lead Dunfermline Athletic out into Hampden for a Scottish Cup final, 15,500 people, that's near enough a third of the city.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put into words, really. You know, I don't get very emotional very often because I've seen it and done it all, but this is something pretty special for me even. Obviously coming up against Celtic and Martin as well. But to take Dunfermline from where we've been 12 months ago to a cup final with a fantastic group of young players, yeah, I'm really proud of what we've done. And you know, like I said in the week, we're not here just to play a cup final, we're here to win.
I imagine this will be one of the biggest games of your career. I know there's a lot to measure up, but certainly for your players.
Oh, for the players, yeah, no question. You know, they've gone through things, Kerridine, this year that they've not been through before. You know, whether it be playoffs, whether it be cup runs, whether it's been 50-odd games into the season. You know, for the first time they're doing this a lot, you know, among them all, really. And they're learning as they go. Yeah, they're young and they're going to be inconsistent, and I'm sure they'll be inconsistent in the game, but I'm okay with that. I know they're talented. I know that when it comes to the big games against better opposition, they play the big games pretty well, so I'm hoping for more of the same today.
You talked about the emotion of the day. What a day for the Todd family, John and Andrew, starting together in a Scottish Cup final.
Well, I said yesterday, look, I played against your father in 2004. But I've got to be honest with you, it was a pretty special Celtic team then. This team is nowhere near that level. Could you go one better than your father? I mean, it'll be the happiest man in the stadium today watching his two boys walking out there. But I said to him, look, bring the winners' medal home and tell them that's what it looks like. So there's a bit of history here, a bit of sort of family ties, which is brilliant about and what makes Dunfermline a little bit special sometimes. And these two lads are super talented players as well, and I have no qualms about putting them in.
And you've got your goalkeeper back as well, Aston Oxborough starting. You had a couple of other changes. Tashin Oakley-Booth coming into the team as well.
Yeah, Tash will give us power and pace, and he can destroy things, he can break things up. But I want Tash going the other way, attacking wise as well. I think the technical side of the game will suit him. Sometimes the physical rigours of the championship game in Scotland doesn't suit him. But I think this being like what'll be a tactical football game, you know, I'm hoping he'll be at his best today. And he has got great attributes that, you know, might surprise a few people today.
1968, the last time Dunfermline Athletic lifted the Scottish Cup. What an extraordinary feat, an extraordinary achievement it would be if you and your players could change that stat and win today. What do you need to happen for that to happen?
Well, we need to, play well. We need to concentrate. We need to respect the opponent, but not be overawed by the opponent. And try and impose ourselves and play our game on them. Like we've seen Celtic have been fallible at times this year. They came good at the end of the season, as champions do. We know that they'll go all the way. But I think we've got real good fitness levels in the team. I think we're powerful. We've gone with legs today and physicality, and I think we'll be a threat at set players as well.
As if today wasn't emotional enough, the opposing manager just referred to you as a brilliant manager. I'm sure the feeling is mutual.
He's the best. I said Thursday, he's the best Irish manager of all time. He's one of the greatest British managers in the last 40 years of football. And what he has done for me is immeasurable. Whether it be as a player or a manager, he changed my life. He taught me the game, he taught me how to win. And the influence he's had over me, like I said, he's managing against the mirror of himself today.
Neil, I can see the emotion in your eyes. I think we're in for something really special today. I hope you can enjoy it.
I hope you're right. Thanks.
Neil Lennon live there in sports, and we will of course hear from Martin O'Neill. Talk to us a bit about him, Ian, you know him well. Talk to us about the man and the manager. He did sound a bit emotional there, and he spoke about the size of this occasion and what it means to him and everyone involved with the Dunfermline Football Club.
Yeah, I think people that know him would tell you that there's a lot more depth to him as a person than his public persona. And what he was saying about Martin O'Neill doesn't surprise me. He said exactly the same thing to me, and he's told me some pretty memorable stories about their time together and what he taught him. In a bizarre way, what he taught him was, yes, this is very an emotional day for two or three different reasons to do with what went on this year in his last year or two in his personal life. But Martin O'Neill's taught him that management is about winning, and that's it, and that's exactly what he'll be trying to do today. But the biggest thing is you saw Neil Lennon, this kind of snarling central midfield player who got in about people, got about the pitch, didn't give the ball away very often, but as a person I think he's to people that know him, he's very, very different. And Kenny's here to win. I don't think there's any doubt. I do think they have got usually when you get it is a mismatch, of course it is, but usually one of the things that's different is physicality and pace, and they certainly won't want for that. They certainly won't want for pace. The boys at the back and one or two others are lightning quick, easily Premier League level pace. So that should make for Celtic overwhelming favourites. But Neil will be. He's here to win, and he's here to try and win and put on a really good performance.
It's a great story, Pat, isn't it? I interviewed him many times during the COVID season. It was a very difficult season, of course, for him. He really struggled. You could see that interviewing week in, week out. You could see it in his eyes. He was emotional. It was challenging, of course. He went to Cyprus, he went to Romania. He does seem, and we hear this a lot in the game, Pat, about finding a fit at a football club. He seems to have fitted in really well at Dunfermline, a club, no doubt at all, they're on the rise.
Yeah, my reading of Neil Lennon, I don't know him probably maybe even as well, even though he's at Celtic as a player and as a manager. I don't know him as well maybe as Ian knows him. I've been involved in certain things, but my looking at his profile, I think he suits club management. He's a winner. He comes from Northern Ireland. He had to fight his way through probably many things over there in his day. It lives with him, but he needed somebody like Sir Martin O'Neill to manage him, to almost point him in the right direction, give him that sort of kind of almost direction and that sort of knowledge to become a really, really, really top class player, which he did. I remember watching him at Crewe when he was a young man in the middle of the pitch. He didn't look the fittest in the middle of the pitch, but he could play. Mm-hmm. Then he moved up a level, and to move up from that level to the next level and then the next level again, that takes a bit of guts, but it also takes somebody who can dedicate himself to the game. Now, listen, there's many a story about Neil Lennon that many people can bring up, but it's not about that. It's about his willingness to learn. He's very bright. He's very bright also. I think when you listen to him, he's very articulate. And from that perspective, I think Martin probably took the best out of him. And that's why he owes him so much. And he was in a really good team, let's face it, with Celtic. Yeah. They were an exceptional team with exceptional players around them. Henrik Larsson was part of that team. Sutton was part of that team. you know, the back to a big, physical, strong. He sat in the middle of the pitch and passed the ball, but he knew what it took to win games, and he's probably brought that in, and he has brought that into his management. And he's probably helping these young. If you look at Dunfermline, they're young players. You go through them. They probably have legs in the team also. But he will give them that sort of kind of bit of knowledge, and it doesn't take a lot, but enough to be able to step out today and perform.
Yeah. The thing is, Kenny, I mean, I've played at Dunfermline twice. If you look at Neil Lennon as a manager, he's been at Celtic twice. He obviously can't go to Rangers. He's been at Hibs, so he can't go to Hearts. Now, Dunfermline are in a group of clubs of about 12 clubs, likes of Motherwell, Kilmarnock, Thistle, Falkirk. They're all decent-sized clubs. So that was what his pick was, because the bigger ones he can't really go to because of what he's done in his career so far.
Yeah, and it's definitely, as I said, a club on the up. There is major investment there. John, you, of course, have managed against this Dunfermline side this season. Talk to us about their strengths, what they'll offer this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I think when you look at them, Kenny, I think Ian just touched on it. They've got pace and power all over the pitch. They've got a lot of quick players. When you look at Fraser, Todd, Mullen, Ngwenya, Morrison, Oakley Booth, they all carry pace and they've all got a real presence. It was interesting listening to Neil before the game when he spoke about Oakley Booth. Sometimes the championship doesn't suit him because it is so physical. But what I would say, having seen his team twice, I've actually played against them twice this season, it's how adaptable they actually are. Early on in the season, you're looking at them, we played 3-4-3. And most people expect them to be the three, obviously with the three left-sided players that they have in the defence, but at times they can flip very quickly to a 4 and it becomes a 4-4-2, and they press in different ways. I watched them one night actually at Airdrie in the first half, and it was before they played the semi-final of the Cup, and again they were 3-4-3 and he flipped it to 4-4-2. They were 2-0 down and they come back and actually got a point out of the game with a team of youngsters. It's that tactical nous that he has, and the way he conducts himself. He can turn the full stadium today. The full Celtic support could be on encouraging Celtic. He could turn the full Celtic support against him and take that back in the Celtic players have away from them and onto Neil Lennon just to help with Dunfermline players. It's incredible how he does it. His man management skills, I haven't been in his dressing room, but they look unbelievable. And you talk about his drive and desire, and people speak about how he just sat in the middle of the pitch. I think that's really disrespectful to him. I don't think he was that type of player at all, because you couldn't run off him. He had that desire to go and match you. You looked at him and thought, as a young guy being naive, I thought I can run off him all day just by his shape. No, you couldn't. He had that desire and that drive, but not only that, he had that in-game management in his head where he knew where to be and read situations in certain ways where it just took away your space. And for me, he's one of the best midfielders to have played in Scotland. But you can see him now. He says Martin O'Neill's looking at a mirror of himself. I think he is. I really think he is today. When you look at how he sets his sides up, and I think Martin O'Neill, when he had Alan Thompson at one side and I think it was Momo Sill on the other as wing backs for that Celtic side, you look at him in the Dunfermline side and he's done the exact same thing. He's got pace and quality in the wing back areas, and it'll be an interesting battle out there today because he should know what Martin's next move is. Yes. I'm not sure Martin will know what Neil's next move is, so that's the battle I'm looking forward to the most.
We're going to hear from Martin O'Neill just shortly, Tom, but just finally for now on Neil Lennon, these young players at Dunfermline, they'll take so much, they'll learn so much from him, and from a media perspective, we say this a lot, he's such an engaging character, isn't he?
He is. He's a character with incredible depth. You know, you go back to his playing days with Celtic, won 5 leagues, 4 Scottish Cups, a couple of League Cups, so many incidents involved in that. As a manager, another 5 leagues, another 4 Scottish Cups, real progress for Celtic in Europe, Barcelona, various other things in Europe, signed some outstanding footballers in his time with Celtic. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves, but from some Celtic people. I think he's an outstanding manager. I think he gets butchered because he was there when they didn't win the 10 in a row, which I think is the most grossly one-eyed assessment. And I've heard it a lot from some Celtic people that they won't forgive him for that. I think he's a manager of real substance, a football man of real substance. He spoke incredibly bravely about sectarian abuse that he suffered, his own depression. He's spoken powerfully about that.
Yep.
He's a compelling character. And as Ian was saying, not at all. If you don't know Neil Lennon, you might have this depiction of him as this snarling midfielder, growling at everybody. He's an intelligent man. He's a warm man. He's a helpful man. And he's a very likeable person.
Yeah, and as he said, he learnt so much from the man we're about to hear from now, the interim Celtic manager, Martin O'Neill. He's also been chatting with Perrin.
Well, Martin, 21 years after you had a Scottish Cup final against Dundee United, and I think it was me that was actually doing the interviews with you. You're back again, a Scottish Cup final. What gives you the appetite to keep going all these years later?
Well, it is extraordinary that you tell me that. I mean, I know, but sometimes the 21 years seems like well, it seems like 21 years, I suppose. But obviously looking forward to the game. Never thought that this opportunity would happen to me at all. Absolutely not. Then I get an opportunity in late October last year to come in. And then twice at Celtic during the course of the season, and culminating here now and getting to the final. I'm delighted to be here. It's a competition that means an awful lot to me, and I would be desperately wanting to win the game.
Well, absolutely. Just how special a moment is this for you, leading the team out for a Scottish Cup final, which could seal a double for you after last week's win?
Yeah, it could happen, and it also could not happen as well too. I'm up against a very, very, very brilliant opponent in the manager, and then the players are up against a very good side who have knocked out 3 Premier League teams during the course of this run of theirs. So they'll not be worried. They've got loads of energy, they've got loads of youth in their team, they've got a lot of things here, and we've got to be right. We've had a good couple of days after the win against Hearts, and now the players are absolutely on the mind for this job today.
What has that league win done for you, done for the players? Because you are a winner once again with Celtic, and maybe more importantly, some of the players for the first time are winners.
I think I think it's important in the scheme of things today. Will it count? No, I think what last week's victory did is give us more confidence to go into the game. But that's it. But confidence, I've told you before, and you've certainly told me, can be eroded in a matter of minutes as much as anything else. So today it's a lovely day. It's a lovely sunny day. Just want to play well, want to try and win the game.
And you've made one change to the team from last week, bringing in the young James Forrest, only the most decorated player in Celtic history, to start a Scottish Cup final. It's, I guess, a mark of the regard in which you hold him. Well,
the irony of it all is that Neil Lennon gave him his chance in the game way back all of those years ago. So James has been a great impact player for us this season, and an opportunity here maybe to start the match. We'll see, like anything else, to see how long he might last in the game. But he's a very, very, very fine player, and it's an opportunity for him as for us.
If you win today, you wouldn't want to walk away from all this. This is not going to be your final game as Celtic manager, is it?
Do you know what? There hasn't been any conversation whatsoever about that. And I wasn't expecting it. I think I said to you maybe a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't expecting it. We've got here to the Cup final, would love to win it. It'll be really disappointing if we didn't. But at the same token, it's been fine. We'll see what develops after that.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Good luck.
No problem.
The interim Celtic manager Martin O'Neill there, Pat. Talk to us about what you've seen from him in recent months. And is there one thing that you've seen that's changed? Because Celtic were bang out of form for much of the season, but what's triggered them, do you think, in the past few weeks of the season?
Well, the one thing that I would say clearly, I think, is calmness from him. He didn't panic. He showed all that experience that he's gained over the years, been at the club. It was tough for him coming in because the team wasn't playing well. He didn't know how the second term was going to go after such a great term. The first time he came in, he was brave to take it on. But I think the players also were very, very happy to get back to what they were doing, because they had lost their way. They definitely lost their way. There was too many changes. People were playing out of position. They didn't know really what was expected of them, and it wasn't happening. As soon as Martin came in, he changed it back to what they were doing. Very simple, absolutely. No need to panic. And even when they lost games or drew games or whatever, he didn't. He just kept it going and saying, yes, we have a big challenge ahead of us, but we're still there. And that, to me, is just keeping the environment right, because environment is a key thing. If you lose that and you lose the dressing room with the players, and the environment isn't right, You can see it actually on the pitch also, and you can see how the players never lost faith, and that's his management skills. And then, of course, to win, the last 7 games is incredible. None of us thought that was going to happen didn't happen for other clubs, but he was able to conjure out. And I think the changes that he made at certain times during games also, like even the game against Hearts, he made the substitutions. He brought Sorachi on, and he actually changed the game. And he's, we talk about impact players. He actually made a huge impact when he came on that pitch, just his adrenaline running around, his energy, and he's seen something, Iheanacho coming on at times, scoring the vital goals. So he made the substitutions, and he made them sometimes at half time, which again is no hesitation. And that's down to me, says that this isn't right, we need to change, let's go for it, and then we can take the consequences either way afterwards, but let's make the decision. And that's key, I think, when you're a manager of his experience. You do that. Other managers might hesitate, and then the game's over, or you may not make it, and you say, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. That's too late in football management. Very different in business. You can take your time, you can get all the analysis, you can all the data and make your decision. But in football, on that bench, and the boys here have been through it and know what it's about, you've got to make the big decisions, and Martin has made that in this year, and I think that's why they've been successful.
Ian, I say this in a positive sense. For me, he's an old-fashioned type of manager, and he's a man manager, a motivator, and you'll have played under many guys like that, I'm sure, in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it old-fashioned, though. I don't think that's right. I think how he manages people is very, very important, and that's still a huge part of the job. And the funny thing, the cup final 21 years ago, I took the United to the semi-finals and got the bullet just before it. And I'm pretty sure Alan Archibald hit the bar in the last minute to get the United draw. In terms of Martin O'Neill this season, I mean, I do think Alistair Johnson getting fit was a huge part of it, because he improves an awful lot of players in the team. He's comfortably, I mean, he's easily the best right full-back in Scotland, and I think he coaxed McGregor and Maeda to their very best form. Maeda certainly in the last 6, 7, 8 games, and McGregor in the last 2 or 3, and that was huge for them. Listen, sometimes as well, he's sometimes a lucky manager, which is a brilliant thing, and I think he got lucky with a couple of decisions. I really do. And but I think to say old-fashioned, I think that's wrong. I think
old style, I should say. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, but you know what, the values of management are a lot of them are exactly the same. And the one thing you find when you talk to any of the greats is their way of simplifying things, and Packy, I think I would imagine would agree with it. Yeah. And I think that's what Martin does. And I think even in his first spell, I mean, he was on the grass sometimes, but it wasn't all the time. He was always there. But other people were doing it. It was just how he treated people and how he got the best out of people. And it's a thing you don't learn. You don't learn it. And the coaching courses are really important, and it's a really good thing. But that's not the type of thing you learn there. And sometimes you've got it, or you just haven't.
Kenny, just on that point about simplicity, listen, I go back to one of the greatest managers I ever played under was Jack Charlton. He used to say to us, if I tell every one of you 3 different things, you're all thinking differently. If we tell you, all of you, 3 things, it's a great chance that you're thinking the same. And that's how he dealt with it. Made the game simple, of course, but I think that's enough. What I'm hearing about Martin, I don't know, I've never been in the dressing room with him, but what I hear, even in his early days, when he came into the dressing room, he said only a couple of things at half-time and so on. Just reinforced the key things, and then stepped away and let the rest of the staff get on with their job. And I think that's very, very important, that you don't overburden players with information at times, and I don't think he does that. And that point about, an old-fashioned manager, I think the game has completely changed. There was a time when we started off, managers didn't go on the training pitch. They didn't do that type of thing, but they were always there, and they maybe brought in a coach to help them. Then you had to be a coach. You had to be on the pitch. You had to be doing that. Otherwise, your credibility was out the window. I think it's gone back completely the other way, because there's so much staff there now that you have to manage staff and let them get on and delegate.
He's got a very special quality, Kenny, sorry. He makes, and I know a lot of them that have played for him, he just makes players really, really want to bust a gut and play for him. And that's something you don't really learn. It's just something you've either got or you haven't got, and he certainly has it in spades.
Right, let's hear from the Celtic midfielder Benjamin Negan. He sat down this week with our reporter Jonathan Sutherland.
What a season. Has this been the best season of your career?
Yeah, I think so. Winning the title after a lot of ups and downs, and now the cup final on Saturday as well. So yeah, I would say so. Like we all know, this season has not only been great. You know, it's been very difficult in some ways as well. Obviously, we wanted to play in the Champions League, and we didn't make it. When I came here, I hoped that we would qualify for the Champions League. But yeah, we've kept on fighting, even though it's been tough periods and so on. So I'm still very proud of the season.
22 goals for club and country this season is a huge achievement. Which one stands out for you in your mind?
I really liked my last goal against Motherwell away.
Nygren jinks into the area. Now it's Yang, back to Nygren on the edge of the box. Left-footed strike. Oh, what a beauty! Oh, it's a screamer from Celtic's top scorer, Benjamin Nygren. He's found the top corner.
And then the header for the win against, I think it was Sturm Graz at home in Europa League at Celtic Park.
It's Engels, in swinger with the right foot, right on top of the goalkeeper. It's in! Celtic have scored again, and it's Benjamin Nygren this time. Celtic have turned it around. Celtic 2, Sturm Graz 1.
That was one of the best feelings I've ever felt.
It has been an up and down season in some ways for Celtic. Obviously managers have come and gone. What would you say for you has been the toughest moment overall?
I think missing out the Champions League, for sure. It's been one of my biggest dreams since I was a kid to play in the Champions League, and we were, so close. The toughest moment for sure, I think.
Let's talk about Martin O'Neill. When he first took the reins here at Celtic Football Club, you weren't even born. What were your first impressions when this man came through the door?
No, yeah, like you said, I wasn't even born. He's a great manager and also a great person. I've said it before that he's even funnier than I first expected.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's very, very funny, very funny as well. He's been brilliant. It's about winning, and yeah, he knows what it's all about. And immediately when he came in, it was like putting his foot into some old pair of shoes that fits perfectly.
You've already got one trophy in the bag against Hearts with that huge day. A moment that I think really not only captured the moment of the nation, but far beyond Scotland.
Yeah, it was a massive game, and that's what we had fought for so hard for the whole season, to be able to get the chance to win the league.
This will absolutely seal it. The subs are away down the touchline. Martin O'Neill, all 74 years of him's away down the touchline. Callum Osman rolls it home, and Celtic are champions again.
You always have to celebrate when you win. So of course we celebrated, but not too much, because we have another big game.
Obviously everybody expects Celtic to win this match as well, because you're obviously the champions of Scotland. Dunfermline are in the second tier. What are you expecting from this whole occasion?
You can never underestimate any opponent. They've made it to the final for a reason, So it's a final, it's one game. Of course we're going into the game to win, but yeah, you can never underestimate any opponent.
Benjamin Nygren there, John. Talk to us about what you see in him as a player. I've heard a lot of Celtic fans say he doesn't do enough during a game, but of course, as he referenced there, he scored some huge goals for the club.
I can't argue with that, to be honest, Kenny. Sometimes you look at him and you think he needs to have more of an influence in the game. But to have scored the amount of goals he has from midfield, wow, that's... I always think, I reference it to... I always remember playing with Derek Riordan, and people say that he doesn't do an awful lot off the ball, but he could win you a game. And if you get 10 players willing to work and run, and their emphasis is on hard work, and I think that Celtic team have got a lot of players that will go and work and graft and run, and Nygren obviously can put the finishing touch on it. And if he's going to score winning goals, you'll have players within that side that are willing to run for him, because they know he's going to get me a win, he's going to get us the 3 points, he's going to get us up near the top. And Derek was like that as well, that's why that reference. But I look at him and I just think good player, a goal effect, has an effect on games. Yes, he does, and that's probably the most important thing, that he maybe not influence games in a big way, but he has an effect on them, and the effect he has on them is massive.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Tom. And a player you've written so much about through the years, James Forrest, gets a start today. He's such a fine example to any youngster, isn't he?
He is, yeah. And I'm happy that he's got a start. He's the guy that refuses to go away, isn't he? Just Celtic signed winger after winger, but it's James Forrest that endures. And here he is starting another cup final. I think he's an example. You know, he's a quiet guy, I'm told. He's not a kind of inspirational character in terms of his oratory, but he's certainly an inspirational character in terms of what he gives to this club, to this team, every single season. His appetite for success is voracious. And I think if Celtic had more like him, they'd be in a much better place. Like, they're in a pretty good place as it is within the league, but they could be, if they had more James Forrest, they could be doing something more in Europe, because I think he's a relentless character and an example to all others.
Are you happy, Pat, with the team that Martin O'Neill's gone with this afternoon?
Yeah, I think it was bang on. And James, you're right. It's great to see James get the opportunity. He won't last the game. He will play for so long. Sometimes he makes an impact coming off the bench. He can easily make the impact starting the game also. It's interesting when you look at the team. Am I right in saying that there's no loanees in that team just right now? Am I right?
Yep.
Tom? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and
I'm nodding my head. I think so.
Yeah. I think
no
so.
Loanees,
and that to me is, you know, that tells me another story about this season. When he brought on all those loanee players, they had others there, and I'm sorry, but you know, Celtic Football Club shouldn't be relying on loanee players. They should have players in that team that is there to really make an impact, and an impact, I think, when you're like James Forrest, when you're around this club for so long, you know what it means. You know what it means to support. You know what it means to the club in general, and you create history. Loanee players come, yes, they can make an impact, they can do a job, but they step away. Iheanacho's made a bit of an impact coming off the bench. I can't see him being here next year unless they give him a contract. But Celtic Football Club should be almost nearly above that. I know it's a normal situation in the current world that we live in. You bring in guys on loan and so on, but it's, you know, when you're in the dressing room with them, they're not quite the same as the ones that have been there for such a long time. So that is just a telling factor when you look at the team today. But
I have no problem with loan players per se, Pat. I take your point, but it's rubbish loan players that I have an issue with.
Yeah.
Then they've brought in so many of them. Guys would forget about. You know, guys have come and gone, have hardly played a game.
Sorry, on that point, Tom, a loanee player comes in, why? Maybe to get his fitness back. Maybe he hasn't played. But in general terms, they're desperate to come in because they're not accepted where they were in many ways.
Well, yeah, but Celtic's, we know we've been over the road on this before in terms of their slapstick transfer activity over a number of seasons now. They go after targets, they don't get them, they panic, they bring in Junior Adamu and Joel Muvaka and Benjamin Arthur and Thomas Svanchara. They bring in these guys, Shin Yamada and a number of other, Inamura, a number of others, some loans, some permanent signings. It's a catalogue of players who haven't worked out, and it all goes back to the fact that Celtic, in terms of, they're a massive football club, but they have a bit of a Mickey Mouse recruitment operation, and have had it for so long.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the loans, it changes from club to club. I mean, at Celtic, but one of the things that is constant for any club is sometimes the loan player is brought in to try and play, absolutely, but sometimes he's brought in to try and boost the other players. Now, Sriracha's come in, and I think Tierney has been better since he's been in. And that might be due to gaining fitness. He's a lone player. But when you've got that competition, it increases, you know, how well the players that are in the team have got to perform if they see somebody in other clubs. It's a necessity. You might need 3 loans at very low cost. And I take Pat's point, shouldn't be that at Celtic, but I mean, there's 2 or 3 of the loan players have come in and done very well. And your base point, Tom, is spot on. listen, it's the same as full-time players, as your own players. You know, good ones are better than crap ones. It's pretty simple. You don't want rubbish loans, you want good loans. And Celtic haven't done that, but there has been 2 or 3 that have improved the players in the team, and that they've also done well themselves.
Well, let's hear from the ever-present, of course, the man that sets the example. He's just come off there after his warm-up with his teammates, the Celtic captain, Callum McGregor. He spoke with Jane Lewis a short time ago.
Callum, of course, you're no stranger to cup finals, but I just wonder, given the circumstances of this season, how special does this one feel?
Yeah, I guess obviously the context of it being a more difficult season, but listen, we want to be a team that wins things and is successful, so we've managed to do that for a long period of time. You know, everything was against us over the last sort of 6-7 months, but we managed to find a way to win the league, and then now we arrive in today with the cup final, and we want to win that as well. So like I say, we've always had that internal belief that we want to be a successful team, and today presents another opportunity for that.
Yeah, a potential to do the double, that's the incentive right there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Like I said before, any season when you get to a cup final, you want to win it, you want to remember it for the right reasons. So today is, you know, the players clear their heads, we give everything when we get onto that pitch, and hopefully we can finish with another trophy.
This cup final's got a lovely side story with Martin O'Neill and Neil Lennon, of course, you know, big mates, but in opposite dugouts for this afternoon. Does that have a bearing on things at all? What are you expecting from a Neil Lennon Dunfermline side?
Listen, I don't think it really has a big bearing on the game at all in terms of the side story, but what we know about Neil and his teams are, you know, very competitive, direct, they'll make it difficult, so we have to manage all that in the game. We have to try and impose our style and tempo and aggressive manner in the game as well. So listen, I think it's down to us. If we can go and, like I said, impose these things, hopefully we'll finish the day with another trophy. And
just a word about the manager, how key has he been in turning this season around?
Yeah, hugely important. A manager with so much experience and the way he handles things with class as well. He's a real winner. He's put that on the team, and the team have responded, and he's been backed up by an amazing group of staff as well. So they have to take huge credit for what's happened as well. You don't want to let these fans down. You want to go out there and win this for them, don't you? Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's a cup final. Anytime you pull the Celtic jersey on, there's expectation to win and entertain the crowd. So listen, hopefully we can do both these things today.
Callum McGregor there speaking with Jane Lewis. Jane also caught up with Dunfermline's Charlie Gilmour.
So Charlie, what a cup run you guys have had, 3 top-flight scalps. How much confidence does that give you when you're maybe taking on the trickiest of tests?
Yeah, no, obviously we know it's going to be a difficult game. We've done well to get to this point, and we're aiming to win it.
There's not much that your manager doesn't know about managing and playing in cup finals and winning them. What kind of advice and experience has he passed on to you?
Yeah, he gives us belief every day, even in training and games. I feel like we've shown that this season, and we're ready to take the final step today.
Tell us about the buzz around the place of Dunfermline. Has it been very obvious that everyone's gearing up for the cup final? Is that kind of rubbed off on you guys too?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the more fans, the better for me. We all love it as players, and they'll be very vocal today, so that'll be very good. What's
the build-up been like? Have you done something a little bit different?
No, I've just tried to keep it as normal as possible. Obviously, it's not the ordinary week, but keep it as normal as possible, and hopefully we get a good result.
Charlie Gilmour there. Both sets of players have just left the park. We are now just, round about 10 minutes away from kick-off here at the National Stadium. Let's talk tactics, John Rankin. We heard from Callum McGregor. Does Neil Lennon put a man on him? Does he get man-marked throughout this?
I think that's what Oakley Booth will be, Kenny. I think Oakley Booth will... His introduction to the starting lineup, I don't mean it surprised me because he's a good player and he's a good talent for Neil Lennon, but we know he hasn't played every game. But what he has got, he's got a pace to go and join in the attack and go forward, and he's a driving runner and a powerful runner. So it wouldn't surprise me if Oakley, you seen the tactic, I see Oakley Booth just goes and stands on McGregor and stops him being that dictator in the middle of the pitch. But we all know Callum likes 1- and 2-touch passing and makes it the shorter passes to try and draw the opposition in and then play round outside of him. But I think if Oakley Booth goes and stands on him, that becomes a less of a problem for Dunfermline, especially if they're going to play with a back 3, because Callum will make sure it goes from side to side and get the full-backs on the ball. So looking at Neil Lennon today, I think that's what you look at the midfield. If they have Engels, Nygren and McGregor, we spoke about already about Nygren not having a big influence in the game as it goes and as it flows, but he can pop up with the important goal. But if Oakley Booth can stop McGregor playing, then who else is going to go and dominate for Celtic? We've seen with Ange Postecoglou having inverted fullbacks in the past and been able to dominate the game. I don't see that happening in this Martin O'Neill side, so it could be an interesting one. Go and play against Callum, and can you go and run off and make an impact in the attack? Because what Dunfermline do have up front is Morrison, who's really sharp and really quick, and Todd, who's a willing runner. So you're going to need to get someone from the midfield to go and support that, and that's what I think Oakley Booth will bring to the game this afternoon.
Ian, you've seen them a few times for us, covered them for us a few times, Dunfermline this season. How do you see the approach on them today? And just talk to us about a couple of players. You spoke earlier on about the pace, particularly across the back line that they've got.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you see players playing in the Championship and they're quick, and you get that. Even players playing in the Premier League look reasonably quick. These boys at the back, well, Abdullah's playing in midfield today, but Chiloka Mullen and Nguenya are really, really, I mean, they've got proper pace. And it's funny, you know, listening to Charlie Gilmour there, we were talking about Neil Lennon being a snarling midfielder, but his personality off the pitch is different. Charlie Gilmour, I tell you what, he tackles everything and he uses the ball well, gets about the pitch, but he sounded really softly spoken, and I really did, you know, you never ever expected that. But yeah, I mean, as well, that both Todd boys, yeah, particularly Andrew, I mean John as well, although he's just in the team, but they're both, Andrew Todd is a real technician. I mean, he's got great ability. I mean, I think he's only going to get better. Both of the Todd boys look as if they've got the same. I had their dad at Dundee United. I let him go, and I should never have let him go. And they both look as if they've got the same personalities and desire as their father had, which is, and they look, to be fair to him, I hope he's not listening, they look better than his dad in terms of ability. But they certainly look as if they want to be footballers and want to do well, and they could have a big, and you know, Andrew Todd in the higher end of the pitch is capable of scoring. This is scoring a goal out of nothing, and I think that's something you may have to have today when you're such big underdogs, certainly against a Celtic or a Rangers traditionally, or maybe a Hearts these days. So yeah, he can score a goal, as I say, out of nothing, you know, 20 yards on the swivel, just curl it in the far corner. So they've got a lot of good players, but the one big thing that differentiates them from your usual team, I hate to say lower league, because I don't think it's a lower, it's a Championship, that they have good genuine pace. I don't think they won't be thinking about going deep with Maeda over the top, because although Maeda may be sharper over 5-10 yards, you know, if it's about pace, these boys are matching because they're really, really quick.
Kenny, you asked earlier on, you know, how big an upset would this be, and there are many ways to kind of articulate that, you know, league position and all the rest of it. But here's another one: the turnover in Dunfermline's most recent accounts. Their entire turnover of their club is less than half of a transfer fee of one of Celtic's substitutes.
Wow.
Is that the loanees or the...
Tunekte is one they bought. And again, you could say the same about Balikwisha. Less than half of what they paid for Balikwisha. That's the entire turnover of the club. So, you know, we know the financial goals are starved, but that's a kind of you can crystallise it with stuff like that.
Balikwisha, I forgot about him. Who is that guy?
How could you forget Balikwisha? He's had such a big season for him.
The noise is ramping up in here. A fantastic display off the left-hand side from the Dunfermline fans. John, of course, they experienced something similar in the semi-final. I know it's a different challenge today, but they are a young team and they handled that occasion very, very well against Falkirk.
Yeah, they did. They don't have a lot of experience throughout their side when you look at it. I mean, Benedictus is obviously a little bit older. Chris Kane's won the double with St Johnstone, but he's obviously starts on the bench. But Kenny, I keep going back to it, and Ian's 100% right with what he's saying. See the pace that Dunfermline have in the back three. It is incredible, but the pace is not just in one or two of them, it's all three of them. But the outside ones in Nguenya and Chiloka Mullen is... Honestly, wait till you see it this afternoon. I don't think they're going to be frightened of Maeda's pace at all, and Ian speaks about his sharpness. That might be the one thing where he gets away, but I think they've got enough legs to be able to get back to them. So the Dunfermline, for me, they don't have a lot of experience in the side, but they've got one of the most experienced managers on the touchline, and he can help them this afternoon by guiding them through the full thing, and I'm fully expecting Neil Lennon to be able to do that. It's just a case of can the team get through the first 20 minutes. We all seen what happened last week with Celtic and how I think they'll come out full of confidence this afternoon and try to take the game to Dunfermline, but can Dunfermline manage the first 20 minutes and give these young guys with all the enthusiasm in the legs that they have a chance to go and impose themselves in the game?
From a Celtic perspective, Pat, what's key in this game today?
No, I think they've got to play with that high energy, get the ball forward earlier. They will push Dunfermline back to the edge of the box. I want to like to see a bit more penetration from them than sometimes, you know, it takes them a while to get that penetration. I think it was probably even the last 20 minutes against Hearts before they actually really created any big opportunities. And then once that flow came, then they were creating 3-4 chances. So they will have to probably get into the game. This is a big pitch. Hampden is a big pitch. I don't know why it compares to Dunfermline's or other pitches, but it feels big when you're out there. Maybe because of the surrounds and that, and you can get very isolated. Celtic move that ball, move it quickly, pass it off their first, second touch, and then of course a little bit penetration in behind. I know you talk about Maeda, but there's very few in the game, in the Scottish game, that can match him when he gets a stride going. And he will be looking for that ball over the top all of the time. And that's, I think, key. And he should be looking for the ball over the top because that's his forte. I don't think he's brilliant coming to the ball and linking the game up, but he certainly frightens people down the side of them and over the top and that. So, yeah, listen, Celtic are the favourites, out-and-out favourites. If they get that first goal, then I think they'll go on and win the game. But Dunfermline have got to stay in the game for as long as they possibly can and get the frustration and maybe in the Celtic crowd a little bit.
You know, it's terrific in here. What a fantastic atmosphere. Tifos at both ends of the ground. Now kickoff just 5 minutes away. So had Pat's thoughts on how this game will play. Let's go along the line then. 30 seconds each, guys. Ian McCall, how do you see this one going?
Well, Celtic huge favourites for Dunfermline. They need to get somebody right on top of McGregor. They need to not switch off when Nygren doesn't appear to touch the ball for 15 minutes because he's a real threat, and they need to stay in the game for 70 minutes, and then they can bring Kane and Rudden on. Gives them the best chance.
Tom English?
It's impossible for me anyway. It's possible to see beyond Celtic. It would be a giant kill if Dunfermline to win it, even if they in the game with 80 minutes, 85 minutes. We know what Celtic are like, winning late games. I'm looking forward to it.
We all are. John Rankin as the sides come out. How do you see this one going?
It's always going to be difficult for Dunfermline when you look at the Celtic squad and what they've achieved last week and the amount of games that Dunfermline have played this season. But what they have on that pitch to begin with is a hell of a lot of legs, a lot of energy, and they'll be right in about Celtic. They need to stop McGregor playing. I think Neil Lennon's got a clear game plan. If Celtic get in front, it'll be really difficult for them. But the longer the game goes on, with the likes of Zach Rudden and Chris Kane on the bench, I think it gives Dunfermline more of a chance. So you can only look at Celtic, Kenny, but if it gets into 85, 90 minutes, I'm talking about goal scorers and match winners coming on for Dunfermline, that we've all seen before. When Celtic get to the 90th minute, the game's not done. They've always got something up their sleeve.
I hope you can get a grasp of the atmosphere across the airways. It is truly electric in here. There is a real sense of occasion. It's time now to sit back and enjoy the action. It's Scottish football's showpiece event, the Scottish Cup Final. Celtic against Dunfermline Athletic with John Rankin, Pat Bonner, Ian McCall and our match commentator Alistair Lamont.
Thanks very much, Kenny. It's always a special day, and for one of these sides it will be ultra special. Celtic aiming for a record 43rd Scottish Cup triumph, while Dunfermline will try to take the cup back to East End Park for a third time and a first since 1968. It'd be an extraordinary feat if Neil Lennon's championship side were able to overcome enormous odds and claim the trophy, which Lennon has won himself on 8 occasions as a player and a manager. His mentor at opposite number today, Martin O'Neill, fresh from his 4th league title, is looking now for his 4th Scottish Cup success. It's textbook Scottish Cup final weather, blue skies, sun shining, barely a breath of wind, a perfect Hampden pitch, and a sea of green and white around 3/4 of the stadium. With the black and white of Dunfermline away to our left, whose 15,000 fans hoping for a day to remember. They've just wrapped up the big banner they had commemorating their 2 Scottish Cup wins. The other one being in 1961 when Jock Stein led Dunfermline to victory over Celtic on that occasion. And it would be a huge shock if they were able to repeat that this afternoon. But you just never know, and if it were ever to happen, this would be the season for it to happen in. As Kenny says, the atmosphere utterly electric. The Celtic supporters turning out looking to clinch a 14th double in their history, as well as the 8 trebles they've already secured. And Celtic in their traditional green and white hoops, white shorts and white socks, go into the huddle. Dunfermline playing all in reds, a change strip for them this afternoon. The boos ring out from the Dunfermline fans for the Celtic huddle, but Captain Callum McGregor with his final few words of wisdom before they get us underway. Looks like Dunfermline will go from left to right as we look at it from our terrific vantage point in the upper tier of the South Stand here at the National Stadium. What do we have in store to conclude this wonderful season that we have experienced? It will be Benjamin Nugren to kick us off as Celtic go from right to left in this first period. And underway with Callum McGregor knocking the ball back to Kieran Tierney and Liam Scales for Viliame Sinisalo, who comes out of his box. And you wouldn't expect him to be overworked this afternoon, but you just never know. As Austin Trusty plays it forward to Alistair Johnston. Dunfermline almost nicking it back there through Andrew Todd. Looks like Tashin Oakley Booth is starting in a fairly advanced position, just dropping off now into a number 10 position, but he will get up in support of both Todd and Callum Morrison for Dunfermline. Slightly surprising choice leaving Chris Kane on the bench, but he will be surely unleashed at some point as Sinisalo clips that one forward. Johnston gets his head to it and knocks it back for Austin Trusty. Still midway inside his own half as the first minute comes and goes. The Celtic having the bulk of the ball. Dunfermline just looking to try and keep them in their own half as Tierney plays it forward down the left-hand side. Into the middle of the park it comes now with Alistair Johnston out to the right, where James Forrest has started the afternoon in his favoured right wing position, looking to get to the byline and hangs the cross into the middle, and it's John Todd who gets the clearing header at the near post. Dunfermline looking to come away with possession, and they've done so, and it is Oakley Booth. Clips it out to the left hand side, one for Andrew Todd to chase, and he'll keep it in. And here come Dunfermline for the first time, looking to make inroads. In from the left it comes, it's Callum Morrison, can't get the better of Austin Trusty, a poor touch lets him down, and Celtic pick up once more as Callum McGregor walks out to the left hand side to Kieran Tierney. Back to Liam Scales at the edge of his penalty area.
Celtic started off very patient at the back, keeping the ball deep in their own half, waiting for the moment to try to break that sort of kind of almost high, you could call it a 3, just pressing them high, and eventually they did. And James Forrest out that right hand side to be able to put the cross, and the Dunfermline then just breaking out themselves a little bit.
Here's Yang looking to find Maida, but read by John Todd, put under pressure by Maida. It will be a Celtic throw in the left hand side, midway inside the Dunfermline half. It's Tierney into the feet of Nugren, and now Yang, fresh from that new deal, he's just penned the Korean. He's had a terrific season in what it's at times been a very difficult campaign for Celtic, but they could yet emerge from it with a league and cup double. As McGregor has it just inside his own half, plays it short to his right to Austin Trusty. Now it's Johnston. His ball forward is cut out though by Charlie Gilmore, who, as Ian described earlier on, snapping into tackles, but also a good reader of the game. That's a lovely turn by Morrison. He's fouled by Trusty, and
fortunate.
I think, if that's any later in the game, he's surely into the book.
Yeah, it wasn't. The earlier on, Morrison, I know he said it was a bad touch, but it was the type of ones that he was hoping that Trusty was going to come into him and he was going to play it around him first time. It was a really good touch, and that would, you're absolutely spot on. That'd have been a booking later in the game.
Yeah, sometimes get a little bit of leniency from the officials in the early stages. Neil Lennon out at the edge of his technical area, hands on hips as his side prefer to take this free kick just inside their own half. It's Nguenya clipping it forward up to the edge of the box. Trusty gets his head to it and knocked away. Gilmour helps it back on. Celtic will pick up here through Arne Engels, back to Liam Scales at the edge of his area and out to the left hand side to Kieran Tierney. Tierney forward. John Todd's got time to bring that under control. He was unsure though. Chilikoa Mullen put under pressure and Maida can't quite release a teammate there. That was an opportunity. Just a little bit more communication required, albeit it's a noisy Hampden, maybe difficult to hear teammates down there as it's clipped forward by Robbie Fraser up to the edge of the box. Johnston gets the header down for Callum McGregor, who's under pressure there from Oakley Booth. Looks like that's one of his key jobs this afternoon. And then Todd's closing down Sinisalo, breaks out to the left hand side and it's picked up by Callum Morrison, tries to skip between a couple of players, then he goes down. No foul though, says the referee, and Celtic come away with possession. Back to Scales just inside his own penalty box. Now it's Tierney left hand side, looks to play the early ball forward. John Todd in there just ahead of Maida, who then picks up though, gets it back to Yang forward to Nygren, just outside Dunfermline's penalty area, left hand side now. Still the Swede Benjamin Nygren, and now Tierney back to Engels. Celtic looking to create the first opportunity here. It's Yang at the edge of the box, out to his left to Tierney. Engels makes a run off him. Still it's Tierney, tries to slip it through. It's a wonderful ball. Engels just couldn't quite get there before Chilikoa Mullen, who concedes the first corner of the game to Celtic.
Yeah, it's that penetration. You know, one is the pass, but also the run. The run makes the pass, and Tierney just had the ability to slide it through for Engels. I thought he could have let it run out for a goal kick, but he opted early in the game, take no risk, but he's given away the corner,
which will be taken by Arne Engels. 5.5 minutes played, no goals, but Celtic looking for the early breakthrough, which Dunfermline were desperate to avoid. Engels will take this one right-footed from the left-hand side, swings it into the 6-yard box. Good punch from Aston Oxborough. Comes to Forrest at the edge of the box, looking to get it onto the left foot. He goes for goal, and it's a stinger of the palms of Aston Oxborough, who holds it well though. A good one for the confidence of the on-loan Motherwell keeper. And it remains in the early stages, Celtic 0, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, I mean, Chilikoa Mullen is always up in the right side of back three, Alan, so he can get out into the wider areas. You would worry a wee bit about John Todd with Maeda just at times.
Here's McGregor trying to slip that through for Maeda, who's got offside, and he goes down. It's a big call for Stephen McLean, who doesn't point to the penalty spot, but it will be checked. Maida getting wrong side of John Todd is just exactly as Ian McCall's describing there. A little bit of inexperience from the young defender, who's under pressure here again from Maida, but gets it clear. Matthew McDermott will be taking a look at that in the VAR room as Maida just went down. There was certainly a little bit of contact. Was there enough for the spot kick?
Yeah, they're going to have a wee quick look at it probably, but he got in almost goal side of the big centre half, and he went down very quickly. I thought he could have stayed on his feet and ended up probably with an opportunity to hit the target if he controlled the ball, Maeda.
I tell you, we've just seen it.
Please continue. That's what we need to say first and foremost. Yeah. It's not going to be a penalty, but yeah, on you go.
Well, it looks. I think you were the same as me, Al. I thought it looked a little bit dodgy.
Yeah, I'm surprised they've got away with that one. Looked like it was a clip on the heels, but no penalty given. So a big call in the early stages for Stephen McLean in his second Scottish Cup final, a decade after taking charge of Hibs' dramatic victory here over Rangers in 2016. That was the end of a very long drought in Hibs history. Could today be the end of a 58-year drought in Dunfermline's history since that 1968 victory over Hearts. Celtic have the throw-in. Kieran Tierney, very long one into Maida, left-hand side of the box, under pressure from Nguenya, holds it up. could it be his last game this afternoon? There was certainly hints at that from Martin O'Neill as Nugren now gets out to the right-hand side to Forrest, on the edge of the box. Forrest holds on to it, back to Nugren, but 25 yards from goal, clips that one in. Looks like Yang's offside, but it will go through to Aston Oxborough in any case. And after 8 minutes at Hampden, it's Celtic 0, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, made it started off quite well, Ian, up the pitch. He's made those little runs in behind. He, I'm looking at Tierney when he picked up the ball. He made the run down the side of the centre half to get on it, and that last occasion he was able to link the game up quite well. So he's been a bit of a threat so far.
Johnston's got to be careful here, trying to get it back to his goalkeeper. It's poked past Sinisalo. Is he going in? Scales off the line. I think he's got there just in time to deny Dunfermline the opening goal. Almost calamity in the Celtic backline there. And Liam Scales has dug his teammates out of a massive hole to deny Dunfermline. And Callum Morrison the opening goal.
As soon as that ball's played over the top, I'm thinking he's under pressure here, Johnson. Is he going to knock it back? The goalkeeper comes, cuts down the space. The two of them get into all sorts of problems. And I think Morrison just got his foot towed to it, and Scales, any bit, more on that toe poke, and it was in the back of the net, which would be an incredible start for Dunfermline.
It was agonising. I mean, I thought it was going to go in, but it quite obviously was just almost over the line, but not. But poor defending. But again, it shows us the threat of Callum Morrison.
Here come Celtic looking to use the threat of Yang, but it's going to bounce out of play before he can get there. Well, big moments at either end in the opening 10 minutes as Dyson Maeda denied a penalty, and then Callum Morrison poking the ball beyond Sinisalo as he and Alistair Johnston got themselves in a muddle. But Liam Scales quick enough to get back there and clear up just before it crossed the line.
The worst thing for a defender there is when the goalkeeper starts coming towards you. You don't know whether, do I knock it back to him? Do I get enough on it? And he didn't do nothing really, did he?
So still 0-0 between Celtic and their championship opponents, Dunfermline. Dunfermline having beaten 3 Premiership sides to get here, in the shape of Hibs, Aberdeen and Falkirk. Celtic, as Tom was describing, it was an unusual route for them, usually sweeping all before them, but a few struggles on the way, but they're here, which is the most important thing. And Scales just knocks it back to Sinisalo, who's about 10 yards outside of his penalty area. 10 minutes in, no goals, but a lively start. Comes back from Johnston to Trusty, about 15 yards inside his own half. Plays it square to Scales. Scales forward to Yang. Yang trying to slip away there from Matty Todd, who we haven't seen too much of in these opening stages, but a hugely important player for Dunfermline. As Nugren comes just into his own half to collect possession. Gets out to the right-hand side for Forrest, who plays it back to Nugren. And then Johnston. Nugren again with the outside of his left foot. Lovely ball forward for Forrest, who's trying to get the better here of Robbie Fraser, and he rolls it into the advancing Nugren onto his left foot, tries to get the shot, and good block there from John Todd. Breaks out the way to Johnston. Johnston back out to Nugren, continues his run, the fullback. Nguyen will just see that out of play though. Good, calm, composed defending from Nguyen, just letting it run out of play. And it will be a goal kick to Dunfermline. 11.5 minutes played. Celtic 0, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, I mean, although Dunfermline nearly scored there, it's a little bit ominous. I just think Matty Todd is maybe playing a wee bit too high out the pitch. Needs to come back in to allow Chaloka Mullen to play a wee bit narrower, because you're leaving John Todd with Maeda, and that's a tough ask. John Todd's a terrific young player, but he hasn't got the pace of the other two centre backs.
Yeah, still just 19, John Todd, making his 25th appearance of the season, and what has been a breakthrough campaign for him, as Oxborough takes the goal kick long over the halfway line out to the right hand side, but it's too high for Matty Todd to help on, and it's out for a throw in to Celtic, more or less on the halfway line. Neil Lennon still strolling around his technical area, no sign of Martin O'Neill. He'll be taking it easy at the moment in his technical area and his dugout, which are pretty vast here at Hampden. Sinisalo plays it to Trusty. Trusty to his right to Forrest. Johnston had gone ahead of him, but back the way it goes, and it's Trusty once more, midway inside his own half, advancing now into the feet of Engels, who sweeps it out to his right-hand side to Alistair Johnston, the Canadian fullback, who's come back to fitness just at the right time for Celtic and played an important role in getting them over the line in the league, and he'll be looking to do the same in the cup as Scales pokes out to this left-hand side, quickly on by Yang for Tierney. Tierney almost at the byline, takes a little nick off Abdullahi on its way right across the face of goal, and Fraser is able to clear. Scales is there, then McGregor. Yang will chest it down and try and bring it under control. Abdullahi with the challenge, breaks for McGregor, and now to the left to Tierney, back to Yang, midway inside the Dunfermline half. Now Scales for Trusty, short ball to Nygren. Celtic finding space pretty easily so far as Johnston's able to get it out to Forrest on the far side. In at the angle of the box now on that right side. Back to McGregor. Engels in a bit of room here. He'll come to Scales instead, who goes back to Trusty about 15 yards inside Dunfermline territory. Dunfermline will get everyone back just at the moment, trying to keep Celtic at bay. 14 minutes in, they've done so far. A long way to go as Nygren finds himself under pressure there from Fraser, but manages to hold on to it. And now it's Trusty inside the centre circle. Scales now on the halfway line. Back to Trusty. He keeps it moving, looking for Johnston. It's a loose pass, but Forrest keeps it in play, gets it back to Johnston. And now Trusty once more, bringing it into the Dunfermline half. To his left is Liam Scales, looking forward, looking for a pass. Can't find a teammate though. It's picked off by Matty Todd. Now Todd's the one looking for a bit of help. Goes back the way to Chillicoe and Mullen. Mullen back up to the edge of his box to John Todd, who looks a little bit nervy at the back as Smaida threatened to put him under a bit of pressure, but he does get it forward. Scales now with his header forward, but it's out of play, and it will be a Dunfermline throw-in right on the halfway line down below. It's quarter of an hour in. Celtic nil Dunfermline now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does look a little bit uptight. I'm not sure it's nervous, but playing against Maeda, he's going to have to be a lot sharper than he is when he plays in the Championship, in terms of using the ball as early as possible.
And the ball's gone back to him here, midway inside his own half. He quickly plays it square to Ngwenya. He'll be closed down, but fires it forward, looking over the top for Callum Morrison. It's not a bad idea, actually. It's just had a little bit too much on it, and it goes through to Sinisalo, but Morrison, with a little bit less on the pass, might have been in there.
Yeah, it was a good idea. He got in between the two centre-backs. Nobody had picked him up, and if the ball was driven in rather than just clipped in, he might have been able to get a control of it and open up and have a go at Sinisalo.
Here is Kieran Tierney out to his left, to his Yang in an advanced position here, looking to try and create something for Celtic. Almost to the byline, sends it back for Tierney. Tierney's got way too much on that cross. Poor one that from Tierney. Really overcooked that, and Dunfermline will pick up through the former Rangers player Robbie Fraser. He's been a really good addition to Neil Lennon's side since coming in. Forward it goes. Celtic get the throw in over on the far side, midway inside their own half. No goals as yet at the National Stadium between Celtic and Dunfermline. Maida's always looking for that early ball over the top. So far, this time it's Kieran Tierney. Haven't really elected to play it, but Dunfermline will have to remain on their toes throughout. You feel like it is Maida's swan song, this one, Packy?
Yeah, I think so. I would be surprised. I think Martin O'Neill has already indicated that, has he? That it might. They wouldn't. If he was a manager, he wouldn't stand in his way. But listen, he's had an unbelievable finish to the season. And
Larson Eskin is manager's words. Here's an effort from Kieran Tierney from the edge of the box. It's blocked by Abdullahi. Yeah, Larson Eskin his last 7 games, he said. That's high praise, isn't it?
High praise. I'm sure not. There's not many that would actually come into that category, I've got to say.
The thing is as well about Maeda, if he wants to go to the English Premier League, somebody's got to want to buy him.
Yeah.
And it may cost money, and that's a different ballgame altogether to play at that level.
It is indeed. Anyway, Dunfermline have the goal kick here after Tierney just rolled the ball down the line, but couldn't find a teammate. So Aston Oxborough taking his time over this one, having missed that playoff semi-final second leg, and you feel that Dunfermline missed them in that one, Ian.
Totally, yeah. I mean, listen, you don't want to be too harsh on young Tyrrell, but I mean, the first goal for Hill, he's just got to go and put. You were doing it, I think. He's just got to pick up. He's just got to pick the ball up, and the Dunfermline are still 1-0 ahead.
Andrew Todd helps it forward. Trusty's got to deal with this one. Callum Morrison looking to get onto it. Trusty does, though, deal with it. And Celtic emerge with possession. And it's Johnston now. He is looking to release Maida. Todd's missed it. It's Dyson Maida over the goalkeeper. And there's the opening goal. Dyson Maida, in what might be his last game for Celtic, has put them in front in the Scottish Cup final. John Todd missed the interception when he was left one-on-one from Johnston's through ball, and Dyson Maida was the coolest man in the house as he lifted it over Aston Oxborough, and Celtic have the opener. It is Celtic 1, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, listen, it's a great finish, really good movement, really good pass from Alistair Johnson. I really feel for young John Todd. You know, he did get to read it, he should have cut it out. But I feel that, you know, in the first whatever minutes we've played, 20 minutes or so, I feel that was an action waiting to happen. There's 2 or 3 times, particularly when the players on either side of him are loaded with pace. So it was a strange one, that one, and he'll be gutted at that, absolutely gutted. And, you know, the first goal in this game was always going to be absolutely crucial, particularly if it went to Celtic.
Yeah, and listen, we all know the pace of Maeda. We talked about it before the game. John Todd didn't do himself any justice in the mistake he made, but also the goalkeeper comes out, kind of almost makes up Maeda's mind, and all he does is a simple task of just lifting it over him. Yeah, not crucial first goal.
Well, what can Dunfermline do in response? Andrew Todd's overrun the ball in the middle of the park, and Celtic have possession. 19.5 on the clock now, after Maida's opening goal, which is his 17th of the season, and one which he has concluded in well, pretty much the same fashion as he played all of last season. It's his 9th goal in his last 7 games, and that's what brought about the Larsson-esque tribute from Martin O'Neill. And if anyone's in a position to call that, it's Martin O'Neill himself. 20 minutes in then, and it's the Celtic fans who have the smiles on their faces at this stage, with their side leading by a 1-0.
Yeah, Celtic are popping that ball around quite well, aren't they? You know, they're using the spaces on this pitch, good movement off the ball, and they're dictating the game.
Out to the right-hand side, it's Johnston who got the assist for that ball forwards for Maida, wonderfully judged. Less so by John Todd, who tried to cut it out as he went back and just completely missed the ball, and that allowed Maida to just lift the ball over Oxborough. Here they come again. Lovely little back heel by Engels to Maida. Engels gets it out now to Forrest in the edge of the box. Johnston, Celtic having fun. Can they get a second goal? It's Oakley Booth making an interception, and he gets it to Fraser. Forward it goes to Andrew Todd. Dunfermline have just got to try and get a foothold in this game.
Totally, Al. I mean, the next 5-10 minutes is crucial. It could be, you know, if Celtic get another one and their tails are up, it could be a long day. So, you know, they've just got to hang on in there and maybe even get a hold of the ball for 1 or 2 passes, even along the back line or into midfield and out the other side.
Here comes Celtic again. No, it's Engels this time, blocked off by Ngwenya, out for a throw-in.
Yeah, obviously Dunfermline are can almost set up with a back 5, but the full backs have got so much space for Celtic to move forward. And it creates that sort of almost a 2v1 situation in the wide areas, and they're exploiting it.
Celtic have it. It's Nygren just spinning away from Andrew Todd, right hand side, leaves it to Forrest. Forrest back into Nygren, back the way to Johnston, and now Trusty just inside the Dunfermline half, plays it to his left to Scales out to Yang. Yang tries a little flick down the line, which comes off Chillicothe Mullen, and out for a Celtic throw in midway inside Dunfermline territory. Tierney takes it into the feet of Engels. He's inside the penalty area. Can he get a pass off to Yang? Yes, he can. Yang in from the left-hand side, saying nothing only. Tried to slip it in at the near side. The offside flag's up in any event. Yang tried to just squeeze that in at the near post between Oxborough and the post, but he instead hit the side netting. But the assistant's flag on the far side is up, and it will be a Dunfermline free kick. We've played a quarter of the game, and it's Celtic 1, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, I know the offside flag's up, but I can't believe he tried the shot when he's running. He had about 4 players that he could have picked out in almost in front of the goal, and he went for goal himself.
Oxborough with the free kick then, beaten once by Dyson Maida. As Yang plays it forward, and Nguenya taking a chance against Maida, does well though, gets away from him. Chilico now down the right hand side looking for Morrison. Good interception though by Scales, who has already bailed Celtic out, saving one on the line. Here comes Dunfermline again looking for an equaliser. Morrison beaten by Scales. Good defending. He's one of the players, Liam Scales, who, regardless of how difficult Celtic were finding it at times, he always seemed to turn in pretty solid displays.
He's been one of their most consistent players. There's no doubt about it. I just can't fathom out why. When I look at that social media at times, and people are giving him sort of stick. You know, they don't believe in him. I think he's just been. I don't know what you think, Ian, but for me, he's been, for a guy that they picked up from the League of Ireland football.
Yeah, and you know, naturally left-sided, very good in the air, good organiser. He maybe top level, he lacks a bit of pace, but you're right, Al. He's been one of Celtic's top performers, even when things were hard.
Yeah, very dependable. Good play from Nguenya, again taking a chance inside his own area, but able enough to get away with it. But Celtic have picked up possession once more on the right hand side. It's Nugren, 24 minutes in, Celtic leading by a goal to nil. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland, to the Scottish Cup final, the showpiece finale to the season, albeit we've still got the second leg of the Premiership playoff to come. Finally poised between St Mirren and Partick Thistle. Live coverage of that on Monday night as James Forrest has it right hand side for Trusty into McGregor. McGregor now advancing, gets a bounce pass off Maida, then plays it to his left to Tierney. Tierney for Yang, left hand side of the box. Yang can't get it beyond Matty Todd, but it will be a Celtic corner.
Yeah, good play again. They're using the full pitch and it's getting from side to side, and I think Yang could have taken another touch here and got to the byline, where obviously it'd been more dangerous for him to cut it back. But really pivotal moments these for Dunfermline.
Certainly can't afford to lose a second goal, you feel, if they are to make a game of this, as Engels stands over the latest corner kick from the left hand side. Yang's close to him, looks like he's going to swing it in as Yang moves away now, and Arne Engels makes the signal with the right arm, and it comes near post ball. It's Abdullah who got his head to that to get it well clear. It'll be picked up by Tierney, plays out to the right hand side to James Forrest, who's extended his Celtic stay by another year. It's into Maida. Maida can't quite bring that under control as it's taken off his toes by Charlie Gilmore, and then cleared by Nguenya down that left hand side. But Dunfermline just can't keep a hold of the ball for any length of time, and it's just inviting waves of Celtic pressure.
Yeah, I just don't know what the temperature is on the pitch there, but it's a real difficult one for them, because they've got to go chase Celtic, work really hard, and they're going to get tired as this game goes on.
Well, Martin O'Neill's name rings around Hampden Park, not for the first time, but it's thoroughly deserved, you'd have to say. What an input he has had to this season, coming off the bench not once but twice for Celtic to dig them out of a couple of holes, and boy has he done that by claiming a 5th consecutive league title, and possibly adding to it this afternoon with the Scottish Cup, as Yang picks up possession almost at the byline, just fires it into the area. I'm not sure if he was actually going for a shot there, or just putting it in as a hopeful ball into the box. Either way, it's drifted behind, and it wasn't a very good effort at either of the aforementioned possibilities.
Again, great pass by Scales. We were just talking about him there. He's flighted just a little bit of ease, comfortable reverse movement from Yang. He gets on it, but a perfectly weighted ball from Scales, and easily done, and he's got his natural left side with a really nice left foot.
Yang's final ball at the moment has not lived up to what you would expect from him. His movement's good, he's getting into good positions, but his final ball has let him down.
Celtic have won the last 8 games since the 2-0 defeat up at Tannadice. You wouldn't have said on that afternoon that they would be going for a league and cup double necessarily, but they have put a run of victories together when it matters, which is what winners do, I guess. And the likes of Callum McGregor, Kieran Tierney and others who have been over the course on a number of occasions, just helping drag them over the line. And of course Dyson Maida stepping up to the plate as well with some seriously important goals. Celtic have it midway inside their own half. We've played 27.5 minutes. It's Celtic 1, Dunfermline 0. Maida with the goal, and Celtic well in charge of the contest at this stage at least, as Nugren has it, right hand side, midway inside the Dunfermline half, goes back the way to Trusty, square to Scales just at the edge of the centre circle. Now Tierney back to Scales once more. Tashin Oakley Booth looking to get close to him, but Dunfermline possession stats will be quite stark in favour of Celtic. Yang trying to keep that ball in play, but as Ian says, the flag now goes up for offside against Yang, and it will be a Dunfermline free kick midway inside their own half. Just look a little bit, I want to say, leggy out there, Ian. I mean, it has been a long season, but they've had that week and a bit since the playoff. But these players, I suppose, they're not used to playing on a pitch that size. It's at the end of a long season, probably aren't on the whole quite as fit as the Celtic team either. So,
well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I mean, I just think they look bedraggled because they're getting pulled all over the shop. You know, I've seen them last games brilliantly. Their fitness is brilliant, but they're up against a different calibre of team than they've used. Even the early rounds when they beat Premier League teams, this is obviously a different calibre of team.
Nguenya pressurised there by Maida, but gets it back to Oxborough. Well won in the air by Austin Trusty. 80-20, I understand, is the possession stats in favour of Celtic, as Forrest looks to hit the byline, then stands up to the back post, just too high for Yang. It'll be picked up here by Matty Todd, who clips it forward down the right hand side, but Oakley Booth, well, Neil Lennon's only a few yards away from Oakley Booth there, as he failed to bring that under control, under pressure from Liam Scales, it has to be said, but it was easily won by the Irish defender, and Celtic pick up once more through Yang. Back to Scales, half an hour in. Celtic leading by a goal to nil, scored by Maida.
Yeah, Dunfermline just got to hang in as much as they can and hope to try to get to that sort of half-time situation. Even if it 1-0, that would be a boost for them, but they can't afford to lose the second one.
Well, Neil Lennon is kind of gesticulating down there. He's a frustrated figure at the moment. His side almost nicked a ball, but they're just always second to the loose ball. And here comes Celtic again. It's Engels for Yang, angle of the box, left hand side. Tierney on the overlap, cuts it back, swept away by John Todd, as Liam Scales picks up once more and gets it back out to Engels, left hand side, just rolls it into Yang, and now back with McGregor, back out to Engels, left hand side, about 15 yards from the goal line. Abdullah's with him, into McGregor it goes. Yang, now Scales. Celtic just dictating play, and if they were able to get a second goal before half time, then you would feel it would be curtains for Dunfermline. You just have to get in at the interval, no worse than a goal down. Celtic get a free kick, got 15 minutes to get there, as Callum McGregor takes that free kick short to Nugren, midway inside the Dunfermline half, central area, short to Tierney, tries to squeeze it through for Yang, can't do so, under duress there from Chillico Mullen. Dunfermline can try and break here. Morrison might be in here, but Sinisalo comes well out of his box to help out Trusty, who was in a little bit of trouble there.
Yeah, that's the only danger for Celtic that I can see, is Morrison up against maybe Trusty at times, and he's staying on him, and they get the ball, they're playing them down the side of him, and it becomes a 1v1 almost chase. Then goalkeeper did well on that occasion to come out and help him.
Scales another good ball forward for Engels this time. Engels able to advance. Now it's Yang on the left hand side, plays it for Engels again. Engels early ball in, swept away by Nguenya this time, but Celtic picking Dunfermline off at times and looking to create almost at will.
And also that Dunfermline's getting put under so much pressure at the back, they're having to go long all the time, and if Morris isn't there to chase it, and that's why Chris Kane, obviously I don't think he's fit for the 90 minutes, but he gives him a focal point. He might be able to get a hold of the ball and link with it, because they're just having to go long now. They don't want to, but they're being forced into it by Celtic.
Neil Lennon spoke pre-match about what he wanted from why he was playing Tashin Oakley Booth. He's not been able to execute that at all because they've seen so little of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know what, I'm not sure he's been completely effective at getting a hold of Callum McGregor either thus far.
Thumped long there by Dunfermline all the way through to Sinisalo. 12.5 minutes remaining in this first period. Celtic leading by a goal to nil. Daisen Maida on the score sheet after 19 minutes.
I tell you what, it's hard to get it close to Callum McGregor. He's so clever, he finds space, he's always on the move, he plays that position so well.
Yeah, like many others in that Celtic side, perhaps didn't have his finest season, but he certainly flourished towards the end of it, and he's played the ball forward here. Oxborough to the edge of his box with a clever header to get it clear. He wasn't quite sure he was going to be inside his area as Chillico-Mullen gets himself in bother there, but eventually manages to poke it forward for Gilmore, and now Dunfermline can try and get numbers up in support, but they come back the way again. I'm not quite sure why Andrew Todd has gone back the way when there were maybe 4-on-4 there for a moment, but
just trying to get a bit of a breather, isn't he?
Yeah,
just trying
possibly
to get a hold of the ball and try and get a few passes in, because they haven't had it for a long time. That's that ball down the side of Trusty again.
Yeah, Morrison again causing him a few problems, but Johnston's there on the cover and just knocks it back to Sinisalo inside his penalty area, and he plays it to his left to Liam Scales, back with the Finnish goalkeeper, bringing it to the edge of his box. Yeah, Morrison looks the liveliest for Dunfermline in an attacking sense for sure. Just giving the Celtic backline a few issues as Todd slides in there on Maida, wins it well right in front of his manager. It'll be a Celtic throw-in just a few yards inside the Dunfermline half. Neil Lennon, he's never sat down so far. He's joined out there at the edge of the technical areas by Martin O'Neill now, clad in his favourite Celtic tracksuit. Here's Tierney back the way to Sinisalo at the edge of his area. 10 to play in the first period. Celtic 1 up thanks to Dyson Maida's lob after Johnson's through ball.
Given a lot of possession, Celtic, a lot of play building up through the thirds of the pitch, but they haven't actually tested the goalkeeper yet.
They haven't. They've been in a lot of good areas to cross the ball from, haven't they? Right in behind, but you're right, they haven't tested the goal apart from here.
Oh, there's a chance here for Maida. He does get it past the keeper, but Nguyen's on the cover and stops it well short of the line, but it was just a quick free kick taken by Nugren over the top, and again Maida was first to it. Here's Callum McGregor picking up, gets out to the right hand side for Nugren. Celtic looking to add to their advantage before the interval. Now Forrest comes into play for Yang. Yang with a poor first touch allows Fraser to get it cleared up towards Morrison. In goes Austin Trusty, no foul as McGregor now finds Forrest on the edge of the box. Tierney back to McGregor, about 25 from goal. Arne Engels is going to take it on goal! Arne Engels from fully 25 yards. Well, Aston Oxford just watched it go by him. Not sure why the keeper didn't make any movement to try and save that. He didn't look to be overly unsighted, but Arne Engels hit it pretty well. Nonetheless, you feel the goalkeeper should be doing better, but Celtic do have the second goal before half-time. It is Celtic 2, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, crucial time also. I don't know whether I don't think it's taken a nick off anybody, but really the goalkeeper got almost caught. He wasn't ready for the shot. You've got to be ready, you've got to be on your toes, you've got to be balanced, and you've got to go for everything in a cup final. He almost just gave up on it. That's what I would say from that distance. It's well out. It's about, maybe he was unsighted slightly with the defender, but still, I think you've got to be ready and go.
It was certainly unsighted. It's a goal Celtic deserve. I can't say they don't, but the goal is going to be better. Simple as that. I mean, he's got to do something. He's got 9 times out of 10 you've got to save that, get a touch on it. People will say it's a good save, but you've got to save it.
Yeah, if you don't go for it, you can't save it. And that's it. Key.
Arne Engels' 7th goal of the season. It's a good hit, and there was a defender in front of Oxborough, but he's like 18 yards in front of him, isn't he? So
he didn't quite go in the corner. It was nearly the centre, not quite the centre, just off centre of the goal.
So Celtic with the 2-goal advantage now with 8 minutes to go in the first period, and it's a long way back for Dunfermline from here as Celtic are almost in here again. It's Yang, Chillico-Mullen trying to get back at him. On the overlap is Kieran Tierney, just tries to dig it out from between his feet. John Todd makes the interception and Tierney wins the header, but straight into the arms that time of Aston Oxborough. We've praised Chillico-Mullen over the course of this season, Ian, but he and the Dunfermline team in general are having a hard time about out there.
Yeah, they're getting run ragged, to be honest. They're just very, very open, and to be honest, Celtic are playing you've got to say they're playing really, really well. They're knocking about, they're moving them about well, and in terms of the type of weather it is, I mean, they'll be absolutely fine now, but if they keep chasing the ball, come the last 20-25 minutes, you know, they'll be really, really breathing, because that's all they've been doing now. They've been chasing shadows.
Celtic back in possession. There was just a VAR check with that second goal on the Austin Trusty challenge on Callum Morrison. That was just in the build-up to it, and that was cleared. So Celtic have the 2-goal advantage, and they're well on their way to yet another double. And Dunfermline's long wait for the Scottish Cup looks like it's going to have to be extended by at least another year, as Arne Engels shows good skill to keep a hold of the ball in the middle of the park.
Yeah, he's another player that's come back into the team at a vital time for Celtic. He gives balance to the team too. He's comfortable on the ball. He's strong in the middle of the pitch, and I think that's been another interesting one for Celtic to get a bit of composure and consistency to their game.
Yeah, he missed 10 in the second half of the season, as he's not happy there with Charlie Gilmore's challenge on him, and Stephen McLean wants a word with the Dunfermline midfielder. Bit of frustration creeping in there, I imagine.
That's exactly what it was. It was about exactly the same thing, because Charlie Gilmore's used to being on the ball a lot, and he's hardly had a touch of the ball. He's been, as I say, he's been chasing shadow. But you're right about Engels, though. He's come back. I did a game recently. It was one of his first, and for the first time I saw what everybody else, well, a lot of other people seems to see when they're going to pay 20-25 million for him. I can't remember who it was again. Maybe it was against Falkirk, and I thought he was absolutely terrific.
Yellow card was shown to Charlie Gilmore there for that challenge, first of the afternoon, with 5 minutes left in this first period. It's James Forrest looking to extend Celtic's lead further. Ball into the box, headed away by John Todd inside the 6-yard box, picked up by Fraser. Well, Neil Lennon said Dunfermline weren't just here for the day out, but they haven't really been able to make any impact on the game. The only real scare for Celtic did come at 0-0, and if Callum Morrison's little poke towards goal crosses the line instead of being saved on it by Liam Scales, then we might be having a different conversation right now. But as it is, Celtic kept that one out and have gone and scored a couple of goals of their own. It's a free kick to Dunfermline here midway inside their own half, to be taken by the goalkeeper over on the left hand side. If you could get a goal back, you just never know, and that's what they need to aim for in the closing stages of this first period. Oxborough's free kick will be seen out of play there by Trusty under some pressure from Morrison. That goal kick will be the decision here quickly taken by Sinisalo. Celtic led here in the final last season before being pegged back by Aberdeen, and of course losing it on penalties.
Yeah, I don't think the Dunfermline have got the energy to go and really close down. They're standing high up the pitch when Celtic have got the ball deep in their own half, but they're not actually affecting the game in any way. They're just standing there, and Celtic are able to just pick their passes.
Yeah, well, Neil Lennon's in conversation with his coaching staff right now, and he'll be contemplating changes of some sort, whether it be tactical, whether it be personnel at half-time, because they haven't been able to lay a glove on Celtic as things stand, and he doesn't want to meekly surrender to them. They want to have a go, but of course you've got to guard against being picked off at the same time, as Maida has it on the halfway line, just rolls it back to McGregor square for Liam Scales. 3 to play in this first period. Yang with a little swivel and turn away and interchange with Kieran Tierney, and now he's advancing once more, Yang, and slips it to Tierney again, who's in the box, and he just rather miskicks there and straight into the arms of Ashton Oxborough, who's in a really good position. Oxborough goes long. Trusty though wins the header ahead of Morrison, and again Celtic tidy things up pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I don't think Neil Lennon was particularly happy with his goalie. He's going as long as that, as early as that. You know, just to settle the game down and try and get it half-time 2-0.
I don't know what's happening down this left corner here for Celtic, but every time they get in there, and they're getting in brilliantly, by the way, but they haven't been able to produce the telling cross from there. Both Tierney and Yang have been culprits.
Yeah, Dunfermline need to go. I mean, I think Neil Lennon will do it, but if they can stay like this, they need to go to a back four, put Abdullahi back to centre back, and put Chaloka Mullen out right back. They need to go to a back four and just arrange things ahead of that, in my opinion.
2 and a bit minutes left in this first period. Celtic leading by 2-0. Maida and Engels with the first half strikes to put them in control of this Scottish Cup final. Yang down the left for Nugren. He's onside. Abdullahi's with him. Tries a little nutmeg, but Abdullahi manages to win it back. Plays it down the right, looking for Oakley Booth, but Scales is first to it. Tierney, who already has a couple of Scottish Cup winners' medals to his name. Went off in the 2017 final with a broken jaw, but was able to get back in time for the celebrations, and also won the following year. And looking to get a 2026 winners' medal to add to that collection. It's going to be a minute at this stage, it sounds like, added on at the end. We've got a minute left of the opening 45. And Celtic just knocking the ball about quite calmly, under no duress whatsoever.
Yeah, Dunfermline's very passive, aren't they? Really passive. And apart from Morrison's runs, when they play it long up against Trusty, the rest of them have almost just stood in their position and hoping that that's going to stop Celtic from building again. That doesn't do it, because their movement and their passing is too good for them.
Yeah, it's proved to be so far. There's some of the Dunfermline substitutes out warming up. I wonder if we'll see any of them. Chris Kane is among them, Shea Kearney and Zach Rudden as well, who's back fit and might get an appearance as well. They're certainly going to need goals. Second half as Yang tries to get the run of Chillico. Mullen shows good pace though. Gets it back to John Todd. Todd into Gilmore, just at the edge of his box, out to the right hand side for Matty Todd. Todd fires it forward to Andy Todd. Much better from Dunfermline at the tail end of this first period, but then Oakley Booth loses it to Yang. Could have kept it moving there. It was a good string of passes there from Dunfermline, really for the first time in the game, as we tick into 1 minute of added on time. And Neil Lennon, I think, is probably preparing a few well-chosen words for his team at half-time. Celtic at the throw-in over on the far side as their fans regale them. That 2-goal advantage has put them in a really good position. And they can only throw it away from here, you feel, as Yang gets the better of Chillico Mullen all too easily. Outside of the right boot into the box. Forrest only inches away from making connection at the back post. Lovely ball that time from Yang, but just doesn't come to anything. Out for a goal kick in the end, the final few seconds of this first period. Celtic 2, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, really good skill, wasn't it? And an end prod. Packy was talking about his cross, but that was certainly an end product, because I mean that was crying out to be stuck in the net. Beautiful cross with the outside his right foot.
So Dunfermline will have this goal kick. In fact, they won't even get to take it as Stephen McLean sounds the half-time whistle, and 40,000 Celtic fans rise to acclaim their team, who are going in at the interval with a 2-goal advantage. It was a scare before they got on the score sheet as Callum Morrison poked the ball past Sinisalo after the goalkeeper and Alistair Johnston got themselves into a muddle, but Liam Scales was able to retrieve the situation and clear off the line. That after Dyson Maida had a claim for a penalty in just 7 minutes after going to the ground under a John Todd challenge, but that was also waved away, and then Celtic really took charge on 19 minutes. Johnston lifted the ball over the top of the Dunfermline defence. John Todd looked to be there to make the interception, but he missed his kick, and Maida was through on goal and just lifted the ball over Aston Oxborough, who was 10 yards off his line, and that was the opening goal of the cup final. And then 9 minutes before the interval, Arne Engels picked up the ball 25 yards from goal, lashed the shot goalwards. It looked like the goalkeeper could have made an effort at least to save it, but he just stood and almost watched it fly past him for the second goal of the afternoon. And that's how things stand at the interval. It is Celtic 2, Dunfermline 0.
The Scottish Cup Final. Live on Sports Sound. On BBC Radio Scotland. Listen to Radio Scotland Afternoons. Grant Stott and Arlene Stewart.
Grant, why should we listen to your show Monday to Thursday on Radio Scotland?
I think what's exciting me the most is that I'll be able to tap into a lot of my passions. I love the Fringe, for example, a big fan of theatre, and of course I'm a massive music fan. I love the telly, podcasts, all the stuff that gets me going is going to be in the show. Arlene, what are you going to bring on a Friday afternoon?
I hope to bring energy, because it'll be like hanging out with a pal. It'll be entertaining, it'll be informative, fun, it'll have great guests across all of the arts, and I'm so excited to get stuck in.
Radio Scotland Afternoons. Grant Stott Monday to Thursday and Arlene Stewart on Fridays. Coming soon to BBC Radio Scotland.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland in the 2026 Scottish Cup Final. Celtic 2, Dunfermline Athletic 0 at half-time. Daiz Maeda with a lob, a really cool lob. After the Dunfermline defence failed to clear the lines, the misjudged a long ball, and it was a really nice finish from Maeda. He's been on fire in recent weeks, and Arne Engels on the edge of the box. A nice strike, a clean strike, but no doubt at all the goalkeeper, Oxford, should have done a lot better. Let's get some reaction from John Rankin and Tom English. John, first of all, to yourself, your assessment of that first half.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, you could see what Neil Lennon's game plan was to begin with. Oakley Booth goes and plays against Callum McGregor and tries to stop him getting on the ball. And you leave the two up, which became Todd and Morrison, that goes and plays against the two centre-backs. So they do have an out ball, and it did work when the long ball for to begin with, and Morrison's through in goals, gets a toe poke, and they don't get themselves in front. But then what happens is the Celtic's two full-backs begin to go on the ball and drive the space, and when that happens in the drive of space, they've got more time on it. Their wingers both come in the pitch, and then the wing-backs have to engage, and as soon as the wing-backs have to engage with the full-backs, the wingers who are then inverted start to make the diagonal runs, which drag out the outside centre-backs. So the two outside centre-backs are getting dragged out, which then left John Todd in the middle against Maeda himself. And Maeda's just too sharp for him. That's what it was. He's too sharp. He's able to get a yard. He's sometimes getting able to get two, and he's getting away from him. Dunfermline then get deeper and deeper in the game, and when they do get deeper and deeper in the game, they managed to get the goal. Celtic get the goal and get themselves one in front. But from there, Kenny, I think it was the 32nd minute, I seen Neil Lennon coming out, and they changed it to a 3-4-3. So Ashley Booth jumps up as one of the wingers, so to speak, in the front three to go to press. But Callum Morrison becomes a striker, but they'll then stop the fullbacks getting on the ball. But Callum McGregor's beginning to dictate it then, so he's got all the time and the space. And the pitch is too big for two midfielders to be able to go and press, so it becomes a bigger problem for Dunfermline. So again, they then get deeper, so the pitches begin to be big for the two midfielders, and they can't get a press on it, so it becomes as if they look passive. But it was really, it's good to watch from a Celtic point of view, but from a Dunfermline point of view, they'll be really disappointed with the fact that they've allowed Celtic too much time in the ball, and it has been really passive, and not been able to get close to anyone. You look at Charlie Gilmore, he runs and comes through the back of somebody and kicks out, but I'm looking at Dunfermline just now, and I'm guaranteeing Neil Lennon will be making changes. He's only sent 6 subs out to get warmed up, so there'll be a lot of changes coming in the second half. It's stick or twist. Does he go for it and leave himself open at the back? I think he has to. If it's a cup final, you're only going to get one shot at it, and I think you'll see an improved Dunfermline side. It's certainly more aggressive in the second 45.
Tom, you could just sense that goal coming, couldn't you? And there was an air of inevitability about it when Maeda went through. He's been so ruthless in front of goal in recent weeks, and it was a bit of a calamity, was it, from a Dunfermline perspective?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a nightmare for Neil Lennon. He would have been preaching the mantra of keep it tight, focus, concentration. And I think the jitters got to John Todd, and it's a simple ball over the top, and he should be able to deal with it. But it's the cup final, it's the occasion. He's a bit nervous beforehand, and he makes a bit of a hash of it. And it's, he turns around and he sees Maeda behind him, and he dinks it over the top, and he must have felt horrible. It's just a basic error. His team are 1-0 down. So all of those good intentions that Neil Lennon would have spoken about, maybe get them to half-time, goalless, get them to an hour, goalless, get them frustrated, all that's got out the window in the blink of an eye. And then, of course, the second goal goes in, and it's...
What did you make of that, Tom? I've not got a monitor in front of me here. What did you make of that second goal? Was he unsighted, the keeper, or...?
I think he was a little bit, but listen, it's not top corner. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not top corner. The fact that he doesn't make any attempt at it I think is pretty poor. I don't think it was complete, like it wasn't beyond him before he realised it was coming. I think he should have made an attempt at saving it. I just think he was rooted to the spot. Maybe froze a little bit, but it was good strike from Engels. It's 2-0, and I can't see them coming back from this. Celtic are just too good for them. It's not surprising. But Celtic have played pretty well, and I can only see them going on to win this final even more comfortably.
So, Ian McCall, what does Neil Lennon do? What's the message to the players, and what changes tactically does he make?
Well, I think he'll be calm, because I think he'll realise that although he tried to change one or two little things, the bottom line is in games like this, he won't say this, but if Celtic play their best against Dunfermline from the Championship, they're going to dominate the game, they're going to dominate the ball. For me, they need to go to a back four. I would put Abdullahi back into centre back and put Chalokamon into right back, Fraser left back, and go into centre back, and just build something from there. But just be solid as a back four, and don't have boys in over cover. Chalokamon there is playing right side of us a 3, and he's going so wide to try and cover Matty Todd, who's not a natural. He's better as a 10, but he's done really, really well at wing back. I've seen him there, and he was brilliant against Aberdeen. But this is different, and he's getting, he's not had a touch of the ball. He needs to get on the ball, and he's not going to get on the ball in that position. But the first thing I'd do is get Abdullahi back to centre back and go to a back four.
You touched on it, Pat. They've been very good down the left-hand side to a point, Celtic, but really wasteful when they get into that decisive area of the park.
Yeah, just that last cross from Yang, it was there for somebody to come and finish, and that's the best cross that they hit from that. But they've got in numerous occasions down there, and that's almost a 2v1. It's very difficult for the midfielders to slide. When you're playing with two in the middle of the pitch and you're trying to slide across and cover it's very, very difficult to get close to Celtic's winger or to the fullback when they start overlapping, and it's a difficult shift. But listen, Celtic have moved the ball. They've just kept the ball for fun. They've just moved it around the pitch. They've been a little bit sort of kind of waiting for the moment, rather than, they haven't created a lot of chances, but they've been waiting for the moment. That ball over the top was always going to be a threat. Yes, it was a mistake, and I think the goalkeeper also compounded it by coming out too quickly. If he was going to come out, he's got to get there, but he comes halfway in the middle of things and just made his mind for him, and then it's an easy goal to lift it over the top of him. And that goal's crucial at the very, very, what was it, about 20 minutes into the game. I was just about to say that Dunfermline would be happy that they've gone 20 minutes, and then just at that moment, Celtic score. Then the second one then just kills it off. But listen, Celtic will be happy. They will know that Neil Lennon will make changes, as John absolutely says. He'll come out. They'll have to get a little bit more fighting spirit. If they do change it to a back four, trying to get more players into positions where they can go and actually put a few tackles in and try and put Celtic under pressure, because they're just dominating. They're working the ball from side to side through the middle. McGregor, Negrin and Engels is dominating the midfield, and then they become very, very dangerous when they get into those positions. So I can't see Celtic dropping off. It's got to be probably Dunfermline trying to upset them a little bit more than they have done in that first half.
Well, we talk about the changes maybe that Celtic are going to go through next summer. Who's going to be the manager? We have to assume, given what Martin O'Neill was saying yesterday, that Dyson Maeda is going to be moving on from Celtic. Good luck in replacing him.
Yes.
This guy, he's come good, really good towards the end of the season. He's had 17 goals, 10 assists, 27 goal involvements in 54 games. Every second game he's getting a goal or an assist. Last season it was pretty much every game, not far off it. He stepped up when Kyogo left, moved from wide to central, did a brilliant job. He stepped up after he wanted to move. He thought his family were moving to Germany. Martin O'Neill spoke about that in January. He thought he was moving. He was asked to move. He wanted to move. He wanted a new experience. Celtic messed around in the transfer market and couldn't give him the move. He recovered from that. An incredible professional. And he's finished this season, and Larson-esque was the word that O'Neill used yesterday. You cannot give any higher praise to him, and he has been. I mean, people will say, hang on, that's kind of sacrilegious. But it's kind of probably appropriate, given the goals he's got, the involvement he's got in when Celtic were in a real tight spot. he has stepped up every time.
Yeah, crucial goals, and a lovely finish for that opener on 19 minutes today, John. So Celtic 82% possession. Take us on to the field. How demoralising is it for a Dunfermline player, do you think? There's been long spells, they just can't get near the ball.
No, they can't get pressure on the ball either, Kenny, and that's probably part of the problem, because Pat described it in the first half of how high Dunfermline's line was, and it was, and Dunfermline have got the ball, but when there's no pressure on the ball when it gets into the full-back, they must drop, because there's that much space behind them. So the long ball's coming through the middle, and they haven't dropped. You know it's coming, because the full-back's able to lift their head and play the long ball, so they have to drop, but if they do drop, there's more space in the middle. The second half, it's a big ask for them. Listen, Celtic are the champions, they're full of confidence, you can see they're playing, they've got a real spring in their step, they're playing at that electric pace when they get into the wide area, when the winger can go 1v1 or the full-backs overlap and there's balls getting flashed across the box. And Ian's 100%, I'm with them, they have to go to a 4 just to try and make sure they can get pressure on the ball elsewhere, because right now they've got 2 centre-backs that are not really participating in the game, the 2 outside ones, but when they do that, they have to make sure there's some sort of threat at the top end of the pitch. I think they'll come out, they'll certainly be much more aggressive, and the next goal is massive now, because at 2-0, if the next goal goes to Dunfermline, there's a bit of pressure, and listen, 3/4 of the stadium then begin to get a little bit anxious. If Celtic get the next goal, you'll see a lot of heads begin to drop, and a lot of Dunfermline boys begin to lose belief in themselves.
I think sorry, John, Kane's a Celtic come on, isn't it?
100. I can see Kane and Rudden coming on, Ian. I think both of them will come on. I think he'll go to a 4-4-2 and he'll just go for it, and he'll not care about well, I don't mean he'll not care about the scoreline, but I think he just has to go for it. He knows it's a cup final, they'll get 45 minutes to get something out of it. Let's just throw caution to the wind, let's go and try and win it. And as mad as that sounds, when the 2-0 and Celtic have been so dominant, one goal changes it, and that's the massive part. But he's going to need to go in that dressing room and try and install belief into the players, because you look at the Premier League teams that played previously, Falkirk, Aberdeen and Hibs, they've won them all, but different threats, but they haven't been dictated to as much as what Celtic have this afternoon, not even for periods in those games. Celtic have come out here and just took control of it right from the off. And it's installing that belief in them. Listen, we've played with Premier League teams before, we've been able to win those games, we've got ourselves to a cup final, can we go and do it again? Maybe it's just a bridge too far, I'm not sure, but he knows these players a hell of a lot better than what we do. But right now it's a case of get out the second half and get in about them, put pressure on the ball, get in about people's ribs, stand on their toes, be aggressive, be a wee bit more than what they have in the first half, because for Neil Lennon's liking and knowing him as a player, it's too passive for this Dunfermline team just now.
Yeah, that's certainly the case, Ian, isn't it? What if Kane comes on, if Rudden comes on, what will they offer? Kane's been very, very good in this competition. He's a bit of a wily old character. He's a clever player, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's really, really impressed me. I mean, I think if it wasn't for injuries, he'd have played a lot longer, more games in the Premier League, but he's impressed me in the cup run, he impressed me in the playoff game. He's just got real good know-how how to play as a centre forward. That Rudden will run, he'll try and link the game, he'll try and come short, but he'll try and run beyond all the time as well. And both of them can finish. So if they do go, I mean, I'm not sure they'll put them both on, but if they do, it is a threat. And as John says, no Neil Lennon, he does risk getting a 4 or a 5, but I'm sure if you asked any Dunfermline fan right now, see the second half, do you want to give us a right go to try and get back into the game with the danger being we might lose another couple of goals, they'd be all for it.
Well, he has run the changes. Let's get back to our commentary team. Second half here in the Scottish Cup final, Celtic very much on top. Can the Powers find a way back in? Our commentary team today, John Rankin, Pat Bonner, Ian McCall, and our match commentator, Alistair Lamont.
Thanks, Kenny. Yeah, 3 changes coming for Dunfermline, with the 2 aforementioned strikers coming on, as well as Shea Kearney. Just looking to see if see who's coming off. Callum Morrison is one of those who's made way. Here we go. And also John Todd and Tashin Oakley-Booth. Can't say I'm too surprised about Todd and Oakley-Booth. A little bit more surprised, I would say, about Callum Morrison, who I did feel like he was one of the few threats that Dunfermline had offered in that first period. But Neil Lennon knows his players, he knows his team. And so on come Rudden, Kane and Kearney. And does look like a back 4 of with Kearney at right back Chillicoe, Mullen and Nguyen, the centre backs, and Fraser the left back. Andrew Todd playing on the left, and Matty Todd on the right with Rudder and Kane right through the middle. Gilmore and Abdullahi still in central midfield. So he's gone for it, Neil Lennon. Let's see what difference that makes. We are back underway here at Hampden with Dunfermline trailing by 2-0 and really needing to get the next goal, as John Rankin was saying at half-time. Andrew Todd does well there, blocked off by Alistair Johnston, gets his side a free kick midway inside the Celtic half, and it's a decent start.
Yeah, positive start, and you know what, I would say put it in the box and see what happens. There's the centre-backs on the way up just now, and you know, anything can happen with a header down, a deflection falls at your feet, so put it in an area that's dangerous.
So Matty Todd and Robbie Fraser over this one. It will be Fraser left-footed to swing it into the box, more or less on the penalty spots. Tierney gets his head to it. Abdullahi will pick up just outside the penalty area, out to the right-hand side to Chillicoe Mullen, who tries to get the better of Johnston. He does that, and he slides into the challenge with Tierney, and it's going to be a Dunfermline corner. Tierney can't quite believe it, but the assistant referee on that far side believing that it came off Tierney last. So let's see if Dunfermline can make something of this, and if they could get a goal right at the start of the second half, well, that would be quite something. So Matty Todd it'll be to take the corner kick, right-footed from the right-hand side. Fires it in near post. Kane just misses it, and then it's fired wide. I think it was Abdullahi who knocked it wide in the end, but just over Chris Kane. And a good start to the second half, you'd have to say, Packy, from the Dunfermline side.
Oh, I think it was Charlie Gilmore, actually, that had the final header on it and just couldn't direct it on goal. But yeah, that's what Dunfermline's got to do. Neil Lennon's made the changes. He has to go direct. Set pieces are always an opportunity for any team, no matter how much you've been in the game or out of the game. When a set piece is there, if you can't defend it and you can get a good run, you can create an opportunity, and that was a big opportunity.
What happened with that when Abdullahi got in Charlie Gilmore's way? It was going to jam Charlie Gilmore. Timed his run great.
It was Abdullahi that got the...
That's Kane put it into the middle, and Scales gets it clear. Well, that's the Dunfermline fans you hear getting right behind their side. They have obviously had a talking to at half-time. The changes have been made, and they have upped their game at the start of this second period. Trailing by 2-0, but much better from the Pars. Thrown here to be taken by Robbie Fraser. Looking for options, just a few yards away from the corner flag. Goes into Andrew Todd at the byline. Back to Fraser he goes. Looking to get the cross in. It's going to break off Andrew Todd, and he sends it into the box. Chris Kane tries the header. Yeah, the flag's up. I think Todd was offside when he got it back from Fraser. In any case, Sidney Salo got his hands to the ball, and he'll just roll it out to Liam Scales. But an immediate impact made by certainly Chris Kane, putting himself about inside that penalty area. Back it goes to Sidney Salo. Celtic playing round the Dunfermline press there. Up towards Maida, but that's slack from him, and Kane could be onto this one. Gets there ahead of McGregor at the edge of the box, tries to get the shot away, it breaks off McGregor, who just hacks it clear. Anywhere will do at the moment for Celtic, which is not exactly what you thought you'd be seeing or hearing, given the way the first half went.
It's exactly what Neil Lennon wanted to get his team to do early in the second half. Get the ball into the areas, get a bit of aggression about the team, which they have done. There's another free kick.
Brilliant run by Robbie Fraser, taken down by a combination of Johnston and McGregor, and they've got a free kick just about 25 yards from goal, left of centre, but another opportunity to put this in for sure. And well, Neil Lennon would have wanted a reaction from his side after making the changes, after having the team talk, and they've certainly got it. Can they get the goal, crucially? Again, it'll be Matty Todd and Robbie Fraser over this free kick from the left-hand side. Just a few yards out from the angle of the box. Both players with their hands in the air. Can they provide a good delivery here? It's going to be Matty Todd to swing this one and curling it goalwards. It's flicked on by Kane, almost in the penalty spot, well over the top in the end. Just get too much on it. Just needed to be more of a glancing header, that one. And it's behind for a goal kick. 50 minutes played, Celtic 2, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, you just feel the next 5-10 minutes that with this pressure Dunfermline's got to score. I can't tell you how good a chance it was for Charlie Gilmour when Abdoulaye got in front of him and headed it from a crazy... His body position was totally wrong. He was almost beyond the ball, and it was coming straight to Charlie Gilmour for a great pace on the ball. From a header for about 5-6 yards, it looked like a certain goal.
Johnston plays it upfield. Maida flicks it on up towards the halfway line, but that'll be picked up by Robbie Fraser. And back to Chillicor Mullen, out to the right-hand side for Kearney. Forward it goes to Matty Todd and into the feet of Rudden. Rudden back the way to Chillicor Mullen, who plays it out to the left-hand side. Big diagonal looking for Andrew Todd. Johnston knocks it out of play with a header. Andrew Todd will just leave the throw-in to be taken by Fraser. Midway inside the Celtic half. Positive start this from Dunfermline, but they do need to capitalise on it by getting a goal back and making a real game of this, which looked beyond them when the Celtic second went in. Here's Chillicor Mullen, steps away from Maida, he's clipped by him, tries to continue playing, but the referee's going to say, no, let's just bring it back for the free kick. The edge of the centre circle, which will be taken by Kieran Ngwenya.
This looks like a Neil Lennon team, doesn't it? Compared to that first half when they were so passive and allowed Celtic to dictate it. We've gone now, nearly 7 minutes into this second half, and I don't think Celtic have controlled any of the ball. It's been all Dunfermline.
Which is why Martin O'Neill's outside his technical area trying to get instructions onto his team as to how to deal with it. Dunfermline have it on the halfway line, forward by Ngwenya. That's Kane trying to play out to the right-hand side, but can't find a teammate, and now Yang picks up. Oh, he had to slip in James Forrest there. Eventually Forrest picks up, but stumbles, and Dunfermline win possession back. But why on earth he didn't release James Forrest earlier, I don't know. Trusty drags Kane to the ground. That's going to be a yellow card for Austin Trusty. Well, Trusty's making a point that Kane got his arm interlinked with him and was dragging him to the ground, and I've got a bit of sympathy with that, but Kane's just so wily, as we know, and gets the yellow card for Trusty instead.
I think that's exactly what happened. I mean, what Trusty's saying, I think, did happen, but it just shows the experience of Chris Kane, that he gets his full, and he obviously gets a centre back in the book as well, and a free kick in another dangerous area for Dunfermline.
Yeah, it's another similar position, a bit further back from the last one, but left-hand side, midway inside the Celtic half. And again, it'll be Todd or Fraser to take this one. And Dunfermline get themselves back into the game. It's Fraser to put this one in. It's nodded away, I think, by Trusty at the edge of the box, and picked up by Yang, who will look to get the better of Abdoulaye, forced to turn back the way. And it's Engels playing it forward over the halfway line, looking for Maida. One, though, by Matty Todd, who was back there on the cover. Good play by Fraser to turn away from Forrest. And now it's Shea Kearney. Kearney just inside his own half, plays it out to the left-hand side, looking for Rudden, who can't stretch to keep it in. He's not happy with the ball. He was looking for it in a more forward position. As Celtic look to regain their stranglehold of the game. Still lead by 2-0 with 54 almost played here at Hampden, but not nearly as comfortable as it was for that basically entire first half. As Trusty plays it square to Scales, he'll be closed down by Kane, part of the St Johnstone Cup double winning team. Sinisalo now picks up possession at the edge of his penalty area. Scales back to Sinisalo. Dunfermline getting plenty of bodies forward as Trusty has it inside his own penalty area. Rudden goes to try and close him down. Celtic struggling to get out just at the moment. It's Scales now on the left-hand side of the box for Tierney. Tierney slides it forward for Yang. It's going to be a Celtic throw-in. Looked like it might have come off Yang last, but we're a good 100 yards away, so I'll bow to the officials on that one, getting that one right.
Yeah. Celtic should be able to still dominate midfield, because it's almost a 3v2 in there, but Zach Rudden is doing a good job. He's the one that's now been given a job to drop back in McGregor and still pick his moment to go and press, and it's working well for Dunfermline.
Gilmore back to Ngwenya. who rolls it back to Aston Oxborough, who then in turn plays it out to Chillicoa Mullen. He's able to turn and play it to Kearney on the right-hand side, who will make the pass forward to Kane. Abdullah's lost it though on the halfway line. And here's Callum McGregor for Engels. Celtic fans looking for their team to regain control of the match as Engels goes down under the challenge from Todd, Matty Todd that is. And Celtic get the free kick about 10 yards inside their own half. Leading by 2-0. You listen to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. The Scottish Cup final between Celtic and Dunfermline, with the league champions 2 goals to the good thanks to Maida and Engels in the first period. But Dunfermline have responded well in this second half, looking for a goal though as Fraser moves away from Nugren, tossing the halfway line. Ball forwards, can't quite connect with Rudden, and Trusty will pick up and find Engels midway inside his own half, out to Nugren right hand side into Forrest. Then Engels leaves it for Nugren with a lovely little ball for Yang. Could be space here for Celtic. Back with Engels right hand side, low ball in, just evades Maida, and Oxborough gathers at the edge of his 6-yard box. It was a good move that from Celtic, their best of the second half, as Dunfermline give the ball away again, and they can't afford to let that slackness creep into the play, because Celtic don't need too many favours in trying to get back on top. As Nugren plays it out to the right hand side for Engels. Celtic leading by 2-0. Into Forrest it comes. Forrest tries to slide it forward for Johnston. It's well cut out by Abdullahi. Breaks for Engels. Back to Trusty, but 10 yards inside his own half. Now it's Scales on the halfway line. Closed down by Kane. Fouled by Kane. But certainly letting him know he's there. And the referee just has a quiet word with Chris Kane as Scales stays down. It's kind of pressure though that really wasn't being applied to the Celtic backline for the most part of that first period.
No, I mean they're able to get closer. They're not as deep as they were. I think that was a wee bit of a naughty one. I think they're spot on though. He just wanted to know he was there, and I think Chris Kane watching in the first half thought, I can't wait to go in here to ruffle some feathers, and that's exactly what he did there. But another one of them, he would been the book.
First Celtic change of the afternoon, and it's the replacement of James Forrest with Ian Atchell. James Forrest, who is well on his way to collecting a 28th Celtic trophy on his 569th appearance for the club, and he's given an ovation, as is Ian Atchell, for the part he has played in Celtic's revival over the course of the latter part of the season. And another change here for Dunfermline, with Alphonse Ahmad replacing Nuruddin Abdullahi in the centre of the park. That's pretty much a like-for-like swap, as Ahmad will come on for the closing half hour or thereabouts. We're hoping it's more than half an hour if they can force extra time. They need 2 goals to do that. The Celtic wait to take this free kick.
Young Shea Kearney that come on a right back for Dunfermline, tilted up and down, get forward. Well, Maeda's just went and switched and went to play wide left. He's gutted.
Here's Scales clipping that forward, looking for Maida. Kearney nips in front of him though, and then he's bundled to the ground by Maida. Dunfermline free kick just inside the Celtic half. Quickly taken. Chillicoa Mullen plays it forward for Rudden. Given away by Ahmad though. It's not the first touch that he wanted. And then Nugren loses out though in the middle of the park, and it's picked up by Chris Kane. Kane tries to play it down the right channel, but it's blocked and comes to McGregor on the halfway line. He'll find Engels. Engels just helps it on to Alistair Johnston to his right hand side. Back in field to Engels. You can hear Neil Lennon bawling at his players down there, looking to continue the good start they made to the second half. But 15 minutes have been played in it, and they haven't managed to get a goal back, which would have been what he was looking for. Oxborough clears from the edge of his 6-yard box up over the halfway line. Rudden barged into there by Trusty, who has been booked, and I'm not saying that was worthy of a second yellow, but it's the kind of challenge you don't want to be drawing your
Rudden was very clever there. You know, he just stood back, and just as Trusty was going to go and maybe attack the ball and jump, he just kind of almost held his ground and got his free kick.
Here is Rudden again, helping it out to Andrew Todd, left-hand side of the box. He flights it in, it's over Sinisalo almost. He just claws it away with his right hand. Looked to was going above him into the back post, but he managed to stretch and knock it away, and the danger is eventually mopped up. But Andrew Todd's ball in from the left-hand side, almost causing all sorts of problems for the Celtic defence there.
Yeah, Celtic just slowing the pace down, and you know, if Dunfermline gets a goal back, I'm not sure if it's the right strategy. I would like to see them go on and try and get a third goal if that's the way, but they're just trying to get into the game and do what they did in the first half, control it rather than anything else.
Celtic have it, 2-0. They lead on the hour mark. As Sinisalo just plays it short to Trusty. Trusty looking for Engels, but it's a poor ball, and Dunfermline have stolen it. Here's Chris Kane trying to feed it for Ahmad. Comes back to Kane, and now Matty Todd on the right hand side for Kearney. Kearney will swing that one into the back post. Rudden's there, climbs and nods it down to Gilmore. Gilmore at the edge of the box, into the path of Ngwenya. Wouldn't quite sit for the shot. Comes to Gilmore once more, and then to the left hand side for Fraser. Steps away from Yang, back to Gilmore. Can he find a pass? It's Ahmad on the edge of the box. He's gone for goal, and that's just wide for Alphonse Ahmad. Dunfermline's best effort of the game so far. 61.5 minutes on the clock, and Sinisalo wasn't quite getting there, but it drifts wide of the right hand post, and it remains Celtic 2, Dunfermline 0.
Really good passing movements as well, and they must have been inches away, the strike from Ahmad. I'm not sure Sinisalo had it covered, but way better for Dunfermline. And you know, Fraser going back to left back instead of left wing back, he's been way more prominent, getting up and down this side and getting on the ball and getting forward.
Still 2-0 then to Celtic. 62 minutes played as Sinisalo prepares to take this goal kick, but the Celtic fans know that their side, as Park is hinting at there, they don't want to drop off the pace altogether, because it is difficult to raise your game again once the other side's got in the ascendancy. Celtic will know that a third goal would certainly do it for them. Here's Iheanacho on to try and clinch it, as Johnston now on the right hand side finds Yang. Comes off Yang though for the Dunfermline throw in, midway inside their own half. And Celtic fans trying to lift their team once again as Robbie Fraser prepares to take this throw in. Down the left it goes into Andrew Todd's, trying to lay it back for Fraser again. Fraser just plays it forward. It's gone out of play on that left hand side. It'll be a Celtic throw in midway inside their half, to be taken by Alistair Johnston just in front of Neil Lennon's technical area. Fraser steps in front of Yang, takes it from him. Andrew Todd gets it back to Chilikoa Mullen, midway inside the Dunfermline half, out to the right to Kearney. Kearney plays it forward looking for Rudden. Rudden just almost misses the ball entirely, and Liam Scales able to mop things up. 63.5 on the clock. Celtic leading by 2-0.
Yeah, Celtic have certainly been knocked out of the rhythm, haven't they, in the way that they were doing in the first half, but it was so easy for them in the first half.
Maida has robbed Kearney over on that far side. Dyson Maida forced back the way, pokes it to Tierney, and now McGregor. Good work from Maida there. Kearney learning all about what it is to try and mark Dyson Maida, as McGregor plays it to the left hand side for Kieran Tierney. Midway inside that Dunfermline half, back to McGregor it comes once more. No pressure on McGregor just at the moment. Back to Tierney it goes on the touchline. McGregor once more, and then back to Scales, who'll go all the way back to Sinisalo, who's almost at the edge of the centre circle. If Dunfermline could steal it here, they might have an opportunity, but Celtic keep it. They get it to Trusty and then Engels, and Sinisalo makes his way back to the edge of his penalty area. Scales now into Iheanacho for Nygren. Maida makes the run off him, and there's the pass slipped into him. Maida, a terrible ball into the middle, goes straight behind for a goal kick. There's a good little build up that from Celtic, but Maida's final ball letting him down. 64.5 played. Celtic 2, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, I mean, it seems strange to say, but Maeda, when he sometimes has time to cross the ball, or when he's time to finish it, the quality isn't there. When he does it instinctively, the quality's always there. It's really, really strange.
It was a good move, that, though.
Yeah, it was.
A good link-up play. Iheanacho coming alive, coming short, linking in with Negrin, and then setting Maeda up. And he was in a great position, Iheanacho, then for the ball in there, but the final ball was poor.
Shirley Cotter-Mullen missing his clearance there. Iheanacho couldn't capitalise. Now it's Scales having to defend at the other end as Dunfermline get it forward. He's done that well, though, up towards the halfway line. Kearney bringing it down, then playing it forward again. One for Kane to chase. Scales trying to see it out. He's done really well, actually. Just takes the ball away from Kane, and then the onrushing Rudden. Cool play from Scales. Forward to Iheanacho, who lays it off for Nugent. Slides it forward. I think Yang's offside, but he's going to be allowed to continue. And then he's slotted in for Iheanacho to notch the third goal. The flag is up. Celtic celebrate, but the celebrations are quickly curtailed. Yang did look to be offside from the initial pass. Not sure about Iheanacho with the second pass, but certainly the flag went up from the assistant on this near side as soon as it hit the back of the net from Iheanacho. And the decision at the moment, at least, is free kick. Celtic thought they had the third goal, but seems to have, I think, rightly been taken away from them.
Well, if he didn't actually intercept the ball when the ball's played through, there was I'm not sure who else was running through.
Iheanacho.
Was it Iheanacho was running through? He was going to be clear on goal. He was onside. Yang offside.
Yang was clearly offside, and if he'd have left it for Iheanacho, it would have been 1-1, but Yang was clearly offside.
Yeah, well, VAR have checked it, and they've confirmed that the offside decision was correct. So Celtic denied a third goal. Iheanacho denied a Scottish Cup final goal, having come on and scored a couple in extra time in the semi-final against St Mirren.
I've got to say it was great play by Scales there. You know, he remained composed. He won the ball, threw in a little dummy, and stepped out, and then the pass into Iheanacho was perfect. So yeah, he's in a good game so far. You're never sure when you're a defender, though.
Celtic have a goal kick. We're almost at the three-quarter point of the match. 67 minutes on the clock, and looks like Celtic have just weathered that little bit of a storm that Dunfermline blew up at the start of the second half, and managed to get their way back into a good measure of control in the game. Celtic, as Sinisalo takes the goal kick, won by Gilmour in the air. Ahmad goes up, beaten to it by Nugren, and fouling Nugren in the referee's view. So Celtic will get the free kick more or less on the halfway line. Callum McGregor takes it back the way to Trusty, and then Liam Scales picks up 10 yards inside his own half. Square again for Austin Trusty. Now Johnston back the way once more to Trusty. Square for Scales, closed down by Rudden. Ball forward for Maeda, turns away from Ahmad into the left hand side, and Tierney goes back the way to Scales once more. Sinisalo again well out of his box to collect the pass, gets it to Trusty and back again to Sinisalo. Dunfermline tried to encroach, but Scales fires it forward. It's a loose pass on that occasion. Ahmad picks up on the halfway line, tries to play it forward, but it's a terrible pass, and McGregor has it, and now Celtic can come forward in numbers. It's Engels for Yang. Yang clips it out to the left hand side. Kearney's in the way though, heads it down to Ahmad, flicked on by Rudden for Kane, just inside the Celtic half, waiting on support. Plays it through the legs, I think, of Trusty, then slides in on Engels, and I think got the ball back in the face there. A ricochet and a really powerful one, and Kane is poleaxed there by that one, and he might need a little bit of treatment. The referee stopped the game because of the blow to the head, and what was a potentially promising attack for Dunfermline comes to nothing. We've played 69 minutes and it's still Celtic 2, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, you just get that. I mean, I think the changes for Dunfermline and the change of shape worked to a certain extent. They didn't work in terms of them getting a goal, but they certainly, for the first sort of 15-18 minutes, they just needed to score. I feel, and you know, Celtic have kind of taken control again. I think Kane has made a really big difference in terms of giving them a focal point and also going to a back four. But you know, you just feel like, is it one of them Dunfermline are heroic, they come right back into it, and then Celtic get one more at the end. Yeah, listen, they've done far better this half, just couldn't get that goal just the first 15-20 minutes.
Chris Kane, I think, will be fine to continue after that little bit of attention from the Dunfermline medical team. And Stephen McLean, the referee, will restart the game with a bounce ball here, midway inside the Celtic half. Dunfermline have got 20 minutes to try and find a couple of goals to take this to extra time. It seems massively unlikely, but with Scottish football, and particularly this season, you just never know. But ultimately, it looks like this season, as spectacular and unusual as it's been, looks like it's going to end in pretty usual fashion with Celtic not quite sweeping the board, but certainly with a league and cup double. They are 20 minutes away from clinching that, as Fraser clips the ball out to the right hand side for Kearney. Maida quickly upon him, but Kearney steps away from him and then plays it forward for Gilmour, midway inside his own half, out to the left for Fraser, who'll be able to advance and bring it down the left for Andrew Todd. Todd on that left touchline goes back to Fraser, now back with Ngwenya, and square for Chillico and Mullen.
Yeah, they're much more confident on the back four, I think, anyway. The two fullbacks, young Kearney looks like an accomplished little player, isn't he?
Little dummy there from Kane, but Rudden couldn't repay the compliment and get it back into his path, and Celtic pick up possession, and Engels feeds it forward down the right hand side. Ngwenya coming across on the cover there with Yang, and Ngwenya does well, forces the ball out of play at least for a Celtic throw-in down near the corner flag as they attack on the right hand side. The Celtic supporters are beginning to start the party celebrations, I think, as they did last weekend after overhauling Hearts at the top of the table. It's very much going their way now as Nugren picks up on the right hand side of the box, slides it forward. Alistair Johnston at the byline, cuts it back. Chillico Mullen in the way and cleared by Robbie Fraser. Johnston usually can pick out a teammate from that position, not on that occasion. Scales again does well at the back, but then gives the ball away. Gilmour feeds it forward but can't find Chris Kane. Trusty nods it down to Tierney, who'll play it forward for Maida on the halfway line.
Yeah, that last opportunity for Celtic when Johnson in a great position. If Maeda just had a check out of the back post, both of them sort of almost went for that ball that was going to be slid across the goal, and if he just had a check out, I think the cut back was on.
Here's Benjamin Nugren advancing up towards the edge of the box, slips it through. Ian Achu with a chance, cuts back inside, looks like a handball. Ian Achu's still going in any case, and he scores! Wonderful goal from Kelechi Ian Achu as he weaved his way through 2 or 3 Dunfermline challenges. Chillico Mullen handled the ball well on the line. It would surely have been a penalty had Ian Achu not been able to continue, keep the ball under control before tucking it past Aston Oxborough to put the seal on this Celtic victory. It is Celtic 3, Dunfermline 0.
Yeah, listen, it was a great play. Again, breaking into those spaces high up the pitch, and that man Ian Achu comes off the bench. He's a goal scorer, great footwork, even though I'm not sure if it might have been a penalty because his hand might have been on the ground as the fulcrum, but certainly great feet at the end of it all. They just break forward in that space, driving forward, Nygren, and then just slipping Ian Achu through. And then great footwork to go around, beat 2 players, and then go around the goalkeeper just to finish.
Yeah, I mean, I put a Dunfermline slant on it. Chillico Mullen's got to do far better. He's got to learn from that. I think the goalie should do better as well, but you just felt, Al, that there was a goal coming for Celtic after weathering a kind of mini Dunfermline storm, and the one guy that you know he could put the ball in the net is Ian Achu, and it was he got fortunate with it, but it was a terrific finish. Terrific.
9 goals for Celtic since coming in. An injury hit season, but still a valuable contribution. So many late goals for the team, including that 99th minute penalty winner at Fir Park, which proved absolutely crucial as Chinekti replaces Yang. And Oxlade-Chamberlain also coming on here for Benjamin Nugren for the closing stages, and he is applauded off the field I should say that Celtic were wearing black armbands today to commemorate the sad passing in the last few days of Mike Galloway, who played obviously for Celtic and Hearts in a terrific career, and our condolences to his family and friends. Celtic marking that with the black armbands in the Scottish Cup final. But otherwise it's been a celebratory day for Celtic, whose fans are utterly jubilant away to our right and really all about us. And they now lead by 3-0. And for Dunfermline now, it really has to just be about avoiding further concession of goals. They don't want it to be a landslide. If they can get themselves a goal back, a little consolation, it would be something. As Andrew Todd has it midway inside the Celtic half, plays it out to the right-hand side. Matty Todd's here, tries to get into the box, can't get it beyond Maida, out for a throw-in. Quarter of an hour to play, Celtic leading by 3-0.
Yeah, listen, Neil Lennon, he takes a bit of a risk, almost going to a 4-4-2, and you know, the midfield then ends up as a 2v3 in there, and just after the first 7 or 8 minutes of that second half, then Celtic started dominating that area, and that's kind of where the goal comes from. Nobody able to deal with Negrin breaking forward, easy then to pick his pass.
Trusty just trying to see that ball out under significant pressure from Zach Rudden, manages to do so. It'll be a goal kick to Celtic, who are well on their way to a 43rd Scottish Cup win. It's an incredible record, and it will be a third win in the last 4 years in this competition, losing last season's final to Aberdeen, but winning the 2 prior to that against Rangers and Inverness Cally Thistle. And Dunfermline, well, it'll have to come again another season for them. As Neil Lennon said in the build-up to this, his priority really is promotion. He would have preferred that this season over a cup final. In the end, he's got neither the cup nor promotion, but you can be sure that they will be among the favourites to go up from the Championship next season if they can continue on the upward trajectory they've shown since the turn of the year particularly. But ultimately didn't really turn up in the first half. Good showing at the start of the second half, couldn't get the goal, and now they find themselves 3 down with 12.5 minutes to play. Celtic have it over on the far side. Kieran Tierney just rolls it into Callum McGregor. McGregor for Trusty, closed down by Rudden, gets it to Johnson and then gets it back once more. And now Scales takes over, clips that one forward, looking for Maida, just too much on it. Oxborough will gather that one just at the edge of his box. Maida closing him down quickly and still chasing back, trying to dispossess Kearney, but he plays it to Ngwenya, who plays it forward for Ahmad, who's been harried and hassled all the way there by McGregor, but he manages to find the pass to Chilikoa Mullen, who's bursting forward here at Hampden. Over the halfway line he goes, just loses track of the ball in the end, but does get his side a throw in well up the park. Somebody can definitely do, isn't it, bounding forward in that manner.
Yeah, it's just the way the game's been. That's the first time he's done it, isn't it? And usually you see him doing it 3 or 4 times in a game.
Latest change is going to see Josh Cooper come on for Andrew Todd, who hasn't been able to make the impact he would have dreamed of. And like his father, Andy Todd, who graced the Dunfermline jersey, he's going to find himself with a runners-up medal against Celtic. Ngwenya plays it to Chilikoa Mullen, comes to Kearney on the right-hand side, rolls it into Kane now, midway inside the Celtic half, out to Rudden right-hand side, into the box he comes against Scales, slips it back, chance here, half blocked, into the back of the net for Dunfermline. Oh, what an introduction I think that is for Josh Cooper, who's scored with his first touch in at the back post. It's an incredible substitution, you'd have to say, as Cooper latches onto it after the initial shot is blocked, and Cooper tucks it in. And remarkably, Dunfermline do have the goal back There's a Celtic player down on the far side. Kieran Tierney is going to need some treatment, but Dunfermline get the goal they've been hoping for. Has it come too late? Probably, but nonetheless, Josh Cooper will remember that moment for all of his days. It's Celtic 3, Dunfermline 1.
And I think you're right. I think it literally was his first touch of the football. He was only on about a minute and a half. Terrific play by the strikers again, and Zach Rudden did really well to get to the byline and get it across. It was a comfortable finish, but you know, the young kids had to be there, and you're right, I'll remember that for a long. Probably too late in the game, is it? 10 minutes to go. Well, listen, it's football, you never know.
That's right, you never know. Just adds a little bit more pressure on Celtic when they were comfortable, but Dunfermline, listen, you know, they deserve something out of this game. They deserve something from the run they've had in the cup also to get to this point, but that goal gives them a little bit of hope.
Yeah, well, Josh Cooper with a 7th goal of the season, but he'll have scored none more memorable than that in his short career thus far, as Tierney continues to receive treatment over on the far side.
With my Scotland head on, I'm hoping it's just cramp and he's having to go off for cramp.
Absolutely. So we're about to restart with 9 minutes left on the clock. And Sean Maloney just had a few words there with Callum McGregor. I guess the general message would be nothing daft in the closing stages here.
Yeah, it'd be as technical as that, I think.
I'd have thought so. So Dunfermline on the score sheet. Josh Cooper within moments of coming off the bench, and Celtic get us back underway. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain rolls it back. The Dunfermline fans find their voice once more. Well, Kieran Tierney allowed back on the field of play as Rudden picks up over on the far side. Tierney tidies up, and Celtic clear, but only out for a throw into Dunfermline. Their fans still believe there could be something special to happen. It would be something completely out of the ordinary,
just like this season.
Well, it gives a motivation, doesn't it? You know, for a big finish. You know, 8, maybe 10 minutes in this game. There's been a lot of subs on, so there will be extra time. And just could he sneak one more just to make Celtic under that pressure.
Ahmad gets the ball back to his goalkeeper there. 3-1 then, Celtic leading with 7.5 left of the 90. Josh Cooper just giving Dunfermline something of a lifeline in the closing stages.
They've got to get it forward, haven't they? They've got those 2 target men up front.
And Ngwenya plays it to the left-hand side for Fraser. Cooper into Gilmore, back to Fraser and into Ngwenya. Better football from Dunfermline. Ngwenya steps away from Oxlade-Chamberlain. Ball through the middle there for Kane, who does well to regain possession, having looked like he'd lost it. And now it's Cooper picking up. Out to the right-hand side for Kearney. Kearney about 30 yards from goal. Out to his right is Matty Todd. Todd with an opportunity. Can he get the ball into the box? Instead he plays it back the way. It's Kearney. He'll swing it in towards Chris Kane. It's just over him. Comes to Charlie Gilmore at the edge of the penalty area. Now Fraser. He dinks it in. It's over Rudden. Half clear. It's Tierney gets his head to that one. Then Chillicor-Mullen does likewise. He'll pick up the second ball. Then he finds Kane for Rudden. Rudden just inside the area. Out to his right hand side is Matty Todd. That's a good ball in, but it's well defended by Liam Scales. Not behind for a corner. And again the Dunfermline fans roar their team on. Can they find the second goal here?
We did not see this coming, but it's terrific from Dunfermline. Really, really good pressure. If they get one in the next 2 or 3 minutes, it's a grandstand finish.
Sure is. It's a corner from the right hand side to be taken by Matty Todd, whose ball in a moment ago was well cut out by Liam Scales. It had to be. There was Dunfermline players lurking, still lurking in there for the corner. And it comes. Chillicor-Mullen rises, but it's over the top from the header from the captain.
Oh, he's got up well too, hasn't he? You know, and it's almost like he didn't believe that he was going to hit that target. It's kind of almost off his head and goes well over the crossbar. But another chance for them. Here Celtic are making that substitution.
Yeah, it's a familiar one. Marcelo Sarachi coming on to replace Kieran Tierney, as he's done it many times. Chris Kane, meanwhile, is down inside the Celtic 6-yard box. I think he just took a knock when he, in the build-up there, he almost lost possession and then managed to regain it in the middle of the park, and I think maybe got a bit of a dead leg in the process of doing so. And Dunfermline will hope he's able to continue as Tierney makes way for the Uruguayan Sirachi at left back. But just over 5 minutes of the 90 left to play. There will be a bit of added on time. And Dunfermline back to within 2 goals of Celtic. Still feels like a long way back, but they have given themselves a little bit of a foothold in the game with that Josh Cooper goal a few minutes ago. As Kane gets back to his feet, he'll certainly have to make his way off momentarily. It looks like he is just trying to shake that off as Sinisalo prepares to take the goal kick here. 4.5 minutes left on the clock as Neil Lennon gets some instructions on to Charlie Gilmore. Chris Kane is slowly jogging around the pitch, ready to come back on when he gets the signal. Launched long by Sinisalo. Chilico Mullins can bring it down on his chest. He's got time here. Plays it to his right to Kearney, midway inside his own half. Forward down that right channel, looking for Ahmad, but Engels cuts it out and picked up by Oxlade-Chamberlain. He initially lost out, but still has it, having battled away to keep possession. Good play from Oxlade-Chamberlain. Tries to clip that one forward. Ian Hatchell's only inches away from making contact, but Oxford is there first, and he immediately bowls it out to the goal scorer, Josh Cooper. Now Gilmore, just inside his own half, plays it square to Chilico Mullen, but 15 yards inside his own territory. Brings it forward out to the right to Kearney. Kearney into the feet of Rudden. Rudden up against Scales here, forcing him away from goal. Comes off Maida for a throw-in over on the far side. Dunfermline right, quickly taken. But two throw-ins were taken simultaneously by different players. One forward, one backwards. And the forward one was the one that was allowed to continue, but Celtic have got it back. And it's with Sinisalo. Just wonder what would have happened if that had ended up in the back of the net. That would have been a moment of controversy. As it is Celtic have possession with Callum McGregor for Engels, just inside his own half. Out to Maida, 3 minutes left. Celtic 3, Dunfermline 1. Maida looking to take on Kearney there. Kearney sticks with him, pokes it behind for a corner though to Celtic. Celtic 3, Dunfermline 1 in the closing stages of this year's Scottish Cup final.
Yeah, really positive play by Maeda. You know, it's in the last 5-10 minutes, and they still full of running after such a long season, and so pivotal in the last 6 or 7 games. It's probably too little, too late for Dunfermline, but you know they can be proud of it. Just that third goal, I think, has killed them a little bit. At 2-1, you know they've got a serious chance to get back in it.
Yeah, second half's been much better from them. They'll just perhaps rue a slightly more conservative first period in which they really failed to lay a glove on Celtic, but they could have been ahead on just 9 minutes when Scales cleared off the line. Could have been a different story had that gone in, as Engels whips in the corner. It's a deep delivery, it's just gone too deep and it's curled out of play in the end, and it will be a Dunfermline goal kick. 2 minutes left of the 90. Dunfermline trailing by 3-1. They're looking at about 4 minutes at this stage of added on time, so 6 all told to find 2 goals for Dunfermline. Oxford takes the short goal kick to Robbie Fraser, who play it back infield to Ngwenya. Ngwenya still midway inside his own half, plays it square to Chilico Mullen. Cooper calling for it in this near side, but they've gone out to the right to Kearney. They do need to get it forward a bit more urgently, you feel.
I don't understand that. There's 3 passes they've had. They could have knocked that ball forward a lot earlier, and they didn't take the option, and then they end up giving it back to the goalkeeper.
Todd's got the better of Sirachi over on the far side, and Kane plays it off Scales for the throw-in on the halfway line on the right-hand side for Dunfermline. Neil Lennon still at the edge of his technical area, likewise Martin O'Neill for Celtic, but Lennon looks the figure who just wants the ball to come forward and Dunfermline to get another opportunity, as Sirachi has to knock it out of play up against Matty Todd there. Throwing over on the far side, Dunfermline right. near the corner flag. Comes back to Kearney. Kearney tries to step away from Maida up to the edge of the box, into the feet of Kane. Rodden now on the edge of the box, gets the shot off, but he didn't catch a hold of it. It's an easy take for Sinisalo at the 6-yard box, because Zach Rodden pulled the trigger, but lacked power, lacked precision.
Nice play,
3-1 to Celtic.
Nice interlink play between the two of them, two strikers, and just Lennon, he just couldn't get any pace on the shot, and was just straight at Sinisalo.
4 minutes confirmed, added on at the end, and we're into that now. Celtic edge closer to yet another double, as Alistair Johnston prepares to take the throw-in down below us, midway inside the Dunfermline half, right-hand side for Celtic. Again, the Celtic manager's name rings round the stadium in acknowledgement of quite a remarkable feat, given the way things were going for Celtic, particularly when he took over second time around after the Wilfred Nancy experiment went horribly wrong. Here come Dunfermline meantime, trying to get a second goal back. It's Josh Cooper who got the first for them, up against Johnston on the Dunfermline left, fires it in, but Trusty's there at the near post, comes out to Fraser, quickly to Gilmore about 25 from goal. Maida's cut out, and he pokes it forward for Ian Atchell. Celtic could be in for number 4 here. Ngwenya comes back. Oh, he's done really well, Ngwenya. Made up several yards on Ian Atchell, who tried to cut across him and almost eliminate him from the game, but Ngwenya was wise enough not to commit the foul, but take the ball off him, and Dunfermline come forward once more. That could have been game, set and match.
Yeah, if he had taken it on his right side, he might have had a better chance to pull the trigger, but he did try to go across him.
Fraser clips it into the box. Trusty though nods it down, and Johnston hooks it away, only as far as Fraser though. Plays it square to Ahmad. Ahmad midway inside the Celtic half for Kearney now. Kearney will fire the diagonal towards the back post. It's over Rodden, it's over Johnston, it's behind for a goal kick, and the upper tier begins to bounce as the Celtic fans get involved in the mass huddle here. And again, this upper tier and the engineering works that were done on it when it was built are tested to the max, much as they were when Kieran Tierney's goal went in for Scotland against Denmark. Never felt it move quite as much as that night. But Celtic are on the verge of yet another triumph, and it's going to be another victorious end to the season for them. They've done it the hard way this season, that's for sure, but ultimately they have done it. With just 90 seconds remaining in this Scottish Cup final, they lead by 3-1. Chillico Mullen at the back for Dunfermline, out to the right hand side to Kearney, forward into Kane, but Scales is there ahead of him. Played forward, it comes to Ian Atchell, is back to goal, finds Oxlade Chamberlain, and he's looking ahead for Tinekti, who's barely got a touch since he came on, but he's managed to keep that in play in the goal line. Up against Gilmore here, right hand side, fires it into the near post, and Ngwenya again makes a good block. He's had a terrific second half to the season, having been kind of out of the picture first half. Celtic pick up possession right hand side here. It's Tinekti to the byline, he goes to the back post, and Kearney's there just ahead of Maida, and then Sarachi following up knocks it well over the crossbar as we enter the final minute of added on time. It's Celtic 3, Dunfermline 1.
Well, did anybody ever believe this season that Celtic could win a double? It's quite incredible, and you know, for Martin O'Neill to come back after in 2 spells and to turn this around is a remarkable story. It'll be in the history books, be written about, and it depends what the future holds for the club and for him.
Yeah, well, that is for, well, perhaps we'll learn something about that post-match. You never know. I'm sure our intrepid interviewers will be trying to find that out. Martin O'Neill, we're talking about building a statue to him outside Celtic Park now, and why not? Because he has lifted them off the canvas as they seal another Scottish Cup, as he makes his way to shake hands and hug the man who learned so much from him, Neil Lennon. But it's Martin O'Neill who has come out on top, and Neil Lennon lifts Martin O'Neill's fist, and in a victory salute. A nice touch from the Dunfermline manager, but his side have lost out despite having made a fist of it in the second half. Celtic were just too good, too strong for them, particularly in the first period when they went 2 goals to the good by half time. Dyson Maida with the first, a lob over the keeper, and then Arne Engels from distance. And both goals, Neil Lennon, I'm sure, will feel were avoidable, but Celtic struck twice before the interval. Dunfermline came out a changed side in that second half. Few changes from Neil Lennon, both personnel and formation, and they really tested Celtic, but they couldn't find a goal. And then eventually Celtic got the third goal in the game, and that looked to be game over really after 74 minutes. Nygren providing the ball for Ian Acho, who was able to use his twinkle toes to keep possession and knock the ball home for the third goal for Celtic. And although Dunfermline got one back a few minutes later through Josh Cooper with his first touch having come on as a sub, there was no way they were ever going to deny Celtic what is now incredibly the 14th double, as well as 8 trebles they've won in their history. Perhaps none have been harder fought than this one, having secured the league title, their 5th consecutive league title last weekend. They have overcome Dunfermline in this final, and what will become now of Martin O'Neill? Has he got another season in him? Dyson Maida and others might be coming to the end of their Celtic career as well, but if so, they have signed off in the best possible fashion. Dunfermline will go away and salute their supporters away to our left. They have, well, it's been a terrific Scottish Cup run for them, you would have to say, beating 3 Premiership sides en route to the final, but they could not beat the champions ultimately. And they will go away and try and reinforce for next season and try and finally get themselves back up into the top flight. And for this afternoon, it is Celtic once again who will be doing the celebrating, because at Hampden Park in the 2026 Scottish Cup final, it has finished. Celtic 3, Dunfermline 1.